Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Scion What Ifs. We are thrilled to present today's story. What if Goku could stack Ultra Instinct with Ultra Ego? If these stories bring joy to your day, please consider liking and subscribing. Every bit of support helps us continue this passion project. Now, prepare yourself for an amazing tale. Chapter 1, Conflicting Energies. Goku floated cross-legged above a grassy field, eyes closed in meditation. The gentle breeze carried familiar scents, freshly turned earth, wildflowers, and something else, the unmistakable energy of Vegeta pushing himself to new limits. His concentration broke. Curiosity always won out over discipline. Sorry, Whis, Goku called to his blue-skinned mentor, who was sampling earth desserts nearby. Gotta check something. He pressed 2 fingers to his forehead and vanished. Goku materialized at the edge of a rocky wasteland, the ground beneath him trembling. In the distance stood Vegeta, but not as he usually appeared. Purple energy swirled around him like violent flames, his face marked with strange patterns. Each punch he threw shattered boulders into dust. Whoa, Goku whispered, instinctively suppressing his ki to avoid detection. That's definitely not Super Saiyan God. Vegeta laughed, a sound that sent chills down Goku's spine. It wasn't his rival's usual prideful chuckle, but something darker, almost primal. With each hit, the purple aura grew more intense. Is that destruction energy? Goku muttered. Vegeta suddenly stopped, his head snapping in Goku's direction. I know you're there, Kakarot. Your stealth skills are as pathetic as ever. Busted. Goku stepped from behind his cover with a sheepish grin. Hey, Vegeta. Just passing by. That's a pretty cool new form you've got. The purple energy fluctuated around Vegeta as his eyes, now rimmed with dark markings, narrowed. This isn't a sideshow for your entertainment. What do you call it? Goku approached, genuinely fascinated. Something about the energy felt familiar yet completely opposite to his Ultra Instinct. Vegeta's aura receded slightly. Beerus calls it Ultra Ego. The more battle damage I take, the stronger I become. Pride colored his voice. While you chase after Angel's techniques, I've found my own path, one suited to a true Saiyan warrior. Ultra Ego, huh? Goku circled Vegeta, studying him with uncharacteristic intensity. And it uses destruction energy instead of that self-righteous Ultra Instinct? Vegeta smirked. Exactly. My power grows from embracing who I am, not erasing myself like your technique demands. Goku's mind raced with possibilities. But they're both Ultra forms. I wonder if, don't even think about it, Kakarot, Vegeta's expression darkened. These powers exist on opposite ends of the spectrum. Even you aren't foolish enough to try combining them. Goku's face split into a wide grin. That sounds like a challenge. Vegeta's power instantly dropped as he facepalmed. You idiot. I wasn't, but Goku was already lost in thought, his eyes gleaming with that dangerous excitement that always preceded his most reckless ideas. Actually, that makes perfect sense. Goku punched his palm. Ultra Instinct is all about emptying your mind and letting your body move on its own, right? But Ultra Ego embraces emotion and gets stronger through battle damage. They're like opposites. Exactly why they can't be combined, Vegeta growled. Your tiny brain seems to have missed the point entirely. But opposites balance each other out. Goku insisted. Like yin and yang, or peanut butter and jelly. Vegeta stared blankly. Did you just compare godly power to a sandwich? You know what I mean. If I could harness both, have the automatic reactions of Ultra Instinct with the battle-loving power boost of Ultra Ego, I'd be unstoppable. Vegeta grabbed Goku's GI. Listen to me very carefully, Kakarot. These aren't just techniques, they're philosophies of existence that contradict each other at their core. Ultra Instinct requires emptying yourself of emotion. Ultra Ego demands embracing it. You can't do both simultaneously without tearing yourself apart. Goku simply grinned wider. Only one way to find out. Before Vegeta could stop him, Goku blasted skyward, leaving his rival cursing in the crater below. The lookout floated serenely above the earth, ancient tiles gleaming in the sunlight. Dend and Mr. Popo tended the gardens while Piccolo meditated near the edge, his cape billowing gently. This tranquility shattered when Goku materialized in the center of the platform. Hey guys! Mind if I use the hyperbolic time chamber for a bit? Got a cool new idea I wanna try out. Piccolo opened one eye. What kind of idea requires the chamber? Last time you had that tone, you nearly collapsed a dimension. Nothing that serious. Goku waved dismissively. Just trying to combine Ultra Instinct with Vegeta's new Ultra Ego form. The water ink dropped from Mr. Popo's hands. Den's antennae stood straight up. Piccolo was on his feet in an instant. You want to combine two divine transformations that operate on completely opposite principles. Piccolo's voice carried the exasperation of someone who'd witnessed Goku's recklessness for decades. Yep. Goku bounced on his heels. Should be fun. Den stepped forward. Goku, as guardian of Earth, I strongly advise against. A streak of light interrupted him as Vegeta landed hard on the lookout tiles, cracking several. Don't waste your breath, Namekian. This fool never listens to reason. Oh come on. Goku protested. What's the worst that could happen? Dimensional collapse, Piccolo counted on his fingers. Spiritual fragmentation. Total cellular disintegration. You might create an energy vacuum that could swallow the solar system, Dend added quietly. So. Not great odds, Goku rubbed his chin. But not impossible. Vegeta's eye twitched. This is why everyone questions your intelligence, Kakarot. I'm just saying, if these forms are opposite sides of the same coin, maybe they're meant to work together. Goku turned to Den with pleading eyes. 10 minutes in the chamber. If anything starts to go wrong, I'll stop immediately. Dend and Piccolo exchanged glances. If he doesn't do it here under somewhat controlled conditions. Piccolo reasoned. He'll try somewhere else with no safeguards at all, Den sighed. Fine. 10 minutes. But we're monitoring your energy signature the entire time. Goku pumped his fist victoriously. Awesome. You guys won't regret this. We already do, Vegeta muttered, following as Goku bounded toward the time chamber. I'm going in too. Someone needs to scrape whatever remains of you off the floor when this inevitably backfires. Inside the endless white void of the chamber, Goku stretched eagerly while Vegeta leaned against a pillar, arms crossed. Let's think this through, Vegeta said, surprising Goku. If you're actually serious about this suicidal experiment, at least approach it with some strategy. I was just gonna power up into Ultra Instinct and then try adding Ultra Ego on top, Goku admitted. Vegeta pinched the bridge of his nose. Of course you were. Listen carefully, these transformations aren't just power-ups. They represent fundamentally different approaches to combat and existence. Right. Ultra Instinct is all about not thinking and letting your body react on its own, Goku nodded. And Ultra Ego is about enjoying battle and getting stronger from damage. It's more than that, Vegeta pushed off from the pillar. Ultra Instinct requires you to empty yourself, to become a vessel for movement itself. Ultra Ego demands you embrace your identity fully, to become more intensely yourself. They're mutually exclusive states of being. Goku's brow furrowed in rare concentration. But what if they don't have to be? What if that's just how we've been taught to use them? The gods themselves can't combine these energies. Maybe they never really tried, Goku shrugged. Or maybe they're too stuck in thinking about them as separate things. Vegeta sighed. Fine. Demonstrate your theory. I'll prepare a healing tank. Goku closed his eyes, centering himself. The familiar calm of Ultra Instinct meditation washed over him. His breathing slowed as he emptied his mind of thought, letting instinct rise to the surface. Silver energy began to flicker around his body. His hair lifted slightly, shimmering with mercurial light. The heat of Ultra Instinct's power contrasted with the cool detachment settling into his consciousness. Phase 1 complete, Vegeta observed. Now comes the impossible part. With Ultra Instinct flowing through him, Goku faced his challenge. He needed to embrace emotion and identity, the core of Ultra Ego, without losing the selfless state of Ultra Instinct. He reached for anger, for pride, for the thrill of battle, emotions that powered Vegeta's transformation. The silver aura flickered unsteadily. "It's fighting back," Goku grunted, his voice strained. "Of course it is," Vegeta called. "You can't be selfless and self-centered simultaneously." Sweat beaded on Goku's forehead as he pushed harder. "Maybe not the way we understand it, but what if there's something beyond both?" The silver aura began pulsing erratically as flickers of purple sparked within it. The chamber's endless void seemed to warp slightly around him. "Kakarot, that's enough." Vegeta stepped forward, alarmed by the distortions in space. "Almost, got it." Goku gritted his teeth. The energies swirled violently, silver and purple fighting for dominance. For a brief moment, they seemed to stabilize, creating a swirling pattern around Goku's form. His eyes snapped open, one glowing silver, the other purple. "I feel it," he gasped. "It's like two rivers flowing in opposite directions, but I'm the stone in the middle." The floor beneath him cracked. Reality itself seemed to bend. "Stop now!" Vegeta shouted. Too late. The conflicting energies reached critical mass. With a sound like reality tearing, the auras collapsed inward before exploding outward with catastrophic force. The blast threw Vegeta against the far wall. When his vision cleared, he saw Goku unconscious in the center of a crater, smoke rising from his body. The chamber door burst open as Piccolo and Dend rushed in. "What happened?" Dend immediately began healing Goku. Vegeta dusted himself off. "The fool nearly tore a hole in reality, that's what happened." Goku's eyes fluttered open, a goofy smile spreading across his face despite the obvious pain. "Did you see that?" "For a second. I almost had it." "You almost had complete atomic disintegration," Piccolo growled. "No, no." Goku sat up excitedly, wincing slightly. There was this moment where they started working together instead of fighting each other. "I just couldn't hold it." A sudden tremor shook the lookout, forcing them all to steady themselves. "Please tell me that was just aftershock from your failed experiment," Vegeta said. Den's expression grew serious. "No. Something's happened. We need to get outside." They rushed from the chamber to find Mr. Popo staring skyward. A strange aurora rippled across the atmosphere, colors that didn't belong in Earth's sky. "What is that?" Goku asked, his playfulness gone. "A distortion in the barrier between dimensions," Piccolo said grimly. "Your reckless experiment may have weakened the cosmic membrane." Goku shook his head. "This doesn't feel like something I caused. It's different. Older somehow." As if responding to his words, the aurora pulsed, sending another tremor through the lookout. "Whatever it is, it's getting stronger," Vegeta noted, his expression grim. A familiar voice spoke behind them. "Indeed it is, and you should be very concerned." They turned to find Whis standing calmly with his staff, though his usually placid expression showed subtle signs of worry. "Whis." Goku brightened. "Did you come to help me figure out how to combine the Ultra forms?" The angel's eyes narrowed slightly. "Is that what you were attempting? How remarkably reckless, even for you, Goku. So you're saying it's possible?" Goku perked up. "I'm saying it's exceedingly dangerous," Whis tapped his staff on the tiles. "But that's a discussion for another time." I'm here because Lord Beerus sensed a disturbance, one that appears to have caught your attention as well. He gestured to the aurora. This energy signature, it's not native to your universe. Something is attempting to breach the dimensional barriers. Something hostile? Piccolo asked. Unknown, Whis replied. But Lord Beerus is concerned enough that he interrupted his nap, which should tell you all you need to know about the potential severity. Goku's expression grew serious. Is it coming through? Not yet, Whis studied the phenomena. The barrier is weakened but holding. However, the attempt itself is troubling. Very few beings possess the power to even attempt such a crossing. Vegeta crossed his arms. I assume you didn't just come to deliver warnings. What does Lord Beerus want us to do? For the moment, nothing, Whis said. But be prepared. If this entity manages to breach the barrier, we may require your assistance. In the meantime. He turned to Goku with uncharacteristic sternness. I strongly advise against further experiments with conflicting divine energies. The cosmos is unstable enough without your contributions. But Whis, Goku stepped forward eagerly, if something dangerous is coming, wouldn't it help if I could master both forms? Become stronger than either one alone. The angel studied him for a long moment. Your instincts aren't entirely misguided, Goku. The highest divine beings do indeed master seemingly contradictory forces. However, so it is possible. Goku punched the air triumphantly. In theory, Whis emphasized. But the path to such mastery isn't brute force experimentation. You're trying to force together energies without understanding their fundamental nature. Then teach me. Goku pleaded. If something big is coming, I need every advantage. Whis sighed, the sound carrying subtle harmonics that made the air vibrate. Very well. A basic lesson, though I doubt it will deter you. He tapped his staff, creating a visual display in the air. Two symbols appeared, one silver, one purple. Ultra Instinct represents the surrender of self, the body moving without the interference of thought or emotion. Ultra Ego represents the elevation of self, power drawn from the raw essence of identity and desire. The symbols rotated around each other. They aren't just different techniques, they're opposing philosophical principles. Attempting to embody both simultaneously is like trying to be completely selfless and completely self-centered in the same moment. But aren't there moments when those things overlap? Goku pressed. Like when I fight to protect others because it's what I want most. Whis raised an eyebrow. An interesting observation. There are indeed states of being where apparent contradictions resolve into higher truths. But achieving such a state requires more than power, it requires wisdom. The aurora pulsed again, stronger this time. Whis frowned. I must return to Lord Beerus. This disturbance grows more concerning. He fixed Goku with a pointed look. No more reckless experiments, Goku. At least until we understand what we're facing. With that, Whis tapped his staff and vanished. Well, that wasn't a definite no, Goku said cheerfully. Vegeta grabbed his shoulder. It was as close to no as Whis ever gets, you fool. Did you miss the part about destabilizing the cosmos? I heard him just fine, Goku's expression turned uncharacteristically thoughtful. But if something powerful enough to worry Beerus is trying to break through, we need to get stronger, fast. The aurora flared again, casting eerie light across their faces. For once, I agree with Kakarot, Vegeta said, surprising everyone. But we need a smarter approach than smash two god powers together and see what happens. Piccolo nodded. The Yard Rats might have insight. Their instant transmission technique crosses spatial boundaries, they might understand something about these dimensional disturbances. And they're good with spirit control. Goku snapped his fingers. Vegeta, that's it. We should go to Yard Rat. We? Vegeta scoffed. I didn't volunteer for another trip to that circus planet. Come on. You made huge progress there last time, Goku reminded him. And we'd be training together, pushing each other to new levels. The aurora pulsed again, and this time they all felt a pressure, like something massive pushing against reality itself. Fine, Vegeta conceded. But only because whatever's trying to break through might actually be worth fighting. It settled then, Goku grinned, placing a hand on Vegeta's shoulder and raising 2 fingers to his forehead with the other. Piccolo, tell Bulma and Chi-Chi where we went. Wait, Piccolo started. Tell them we'll be back soon. Goku called as they vanished. Piccolo sighed heavily. Those 2 will be the death of me. Den gazed worriedly at the aurora. I fear they might be the death of us all if they're not careful. Planet Yardrat looked exactly as Goku remembered, pinkish skies, odd rounded buildings, and the strange but friendly inhabitants with their bulbous heads and pointed ears. Several Yardrats approached as soon as they appeared, recognizing both scions from previous visits. Goku. Vegeta, called Pabara, one of the elder Yardrats. Your return is timely. We have sensed great disturbances in the cosmic fabric. You felt it too? Goku asked. Something trying to break through from another dimension? Pabara nodded solemnly. The barriers between realities grow thin. We have been strengthening our techniques to prepare. That's actually why we're here, Goku explained. I'm trying to master something new, combining 2 divine powers that normally conflict with each other. Vegeta crossed his arms. What he means is, he's trying to do something impossibly dangerous that even the gods advise against. Ah, Pabara's eyes twinkled. The harmony of opposites. A most difficult spiritual challenge. Goku brightened. So you know about it. We Yardrats study all flows of energy in the universe, Pabara gestured for them to follow. Balance is central to our philosophy. Come, we will discuss this over food. You scions are always hungry, yes? As they walked, Vegeta noticed something odd about the Yardrat settlement. You're preparing for battle, he observed, noting stockpiles of supplies and Yardrats practicing combat techniques. Pabara nodded grimly. The disturbance you sensed, we believe it heralds the arrival of a great threat. One we have legends about. Inside a dome-shaped building, they sat around a low table laden with Yardrat cuisine, foods that looked strange but smelled delicious. Goku immediately began eating, while Vegeta listened intently to Pabara. Our ancient texts speak of beings who mastered the balance between opposing forces, the elder Yardrat explained. They called this state dual harmony, the ability to embody contradictory energies simultaneously. That sounds exactly like what I'm trying to do. Goku said between mouthfuls. These beings became immensely powerful, Pabara continued. But power without wisdom leads to corruption. The texts say they began using their abilities to conquer dimensions, believing their mastery gave them the right to rule all existence. Vegeta's eyes narrowed. And you think one of these beings is trying to break through now? The energy signature matches the descriptions, Pabara nodded gravely. If our interpretations are correct, we face a being who has already achieved what you seek, Goku. The scion set down his food, suddenly serious. Then I definitely need to master this combination. If this guy's using it for evil, I need to be able to match him. It's not so simple, Pabara cautioned. True dual harmony requires more than power, it demands complete self-knowledge. You must understand your own nature so deeply that contradictions resolve themselves. Self-knowledge has never been Kakarot's strong suit, Vegeta smirked. Hey! I know myself just fine. Goku protested. Do you? Pabara asked gently. Do you understand why you fight? Why you seek strength? What drives your heart in moments of peace versus moments of battle? Goku opened his mouth to answer, then closed it, genuinely stumped. I fight because, it's fun. And to protect people. And to get stronger. He scratched his head. I guess I never really thought about the why that deeply. Precisely, Pibara nodded. Before attempting to harmonize opposing forces, you must understand the opposing forces within yourself. Both of you, he added, glancing at Vegeta, who scowled. I'm not trying to combine anything, Vegeta said flatly. I'm perfectly satisfied with Ultra Ego. Are you? Pibara's penetrating gaze made Vegeta uncomfortable. Or do you simply fear you cannot achieve what Goku might? The Saiyan Prince stood abruptly, his chair scraping back. My motivations are none of your concern, Yardrat. They are entirely your concern, however, Pibara replied calmly. And understanding them is the first step toward true power. Before Vegeta could retort, a younger Yardrat burst into the room, his expression frantic. Elder. Something has breached the atmosphere. An energy unlike anything we've ever sensed. They rushed outside to see a streak of light cutting across the pink sky, crashing into the hills beyond the settlement with an impact that shook the ground. A plume of dust and debris rose from the impact site. That energy. Goku's expression grew serious. It's similar to what we felt on Earth, but concentrated, like it's been focused into a single point. A scout, Vegeta surmised. Testing defenses before the main force arrives. Pibara nodded grimly. We must investigate, but cautiously. If this truly is a harbinger of the ancient threat. We'll check it out, Goku decided, looking to Vegeta, who nodded in agreement. You guys should prepare your defenses, just in case. The Saiyans took to the air, flying swiftly toward the impact site. As they approached, they felt the strange energy more clearly, a dissonant vibration that made their own ki fluctuate uncomfortably. This power. Vegeta frowned. It feels wrong somehow. Like it's not fully here. Yeah, Goku agreed. Like it exists halfway between dimensions. The crater came into view, a massive depression in the landscape, still smoking from the impact. At its center stood a humanoid figure, tall and slender, with skin that shifted like oil on water, never quite settling on one color or texture. As they landed at the crater's edge, the figure turned toward them. Its face was mostly featureless except for two eyes, one glowing silver, the other deep purple. Science, it spoke, its voice resonating strangely, as if coming from multiple throats at once. Your energy signatures are notable. You are not what I expected to find on this backwater planet. Who are you? Goku called. And why are you here? The being tilted its head, studying them. I am merely an extension, a fragment sent to evaluate this dimension's defenses. My master sensed potential interference from this world when he begins his crossing. Your master, Vegeta stepped forward. Would that be one of the dual harmony users from Yardrat legend? Surprise flickered across the being's shifting features. You know of the harmonized ones? Interesting. This dimension may be more aware than we thought. It pointed at them. You too, you carry divine energy. One silver, one purple. Incomplete, unbalanced, but potent. Goku slid into a fighting stance. If your master is planning to invade this dimension, we can't let that happen. The being made a sound like laughter. You cannot stop what has already begun. The barriers weaken. My master merely sent me to clear away any significant resistance. It focused on Goku. You've attempted harmony, haven't you? Recently. I can sense the residual energy patterns. Maybe I have, Goku replied. What's it to you? A curiosity, nothing more. Your attempt was doomed from the start, you lack understanding of the forces you're trying to control. The being's form rippled. I was sent to test this world's defenders. Shall we begin? Without warning, the creature attacked, moving with such speed that even Goku barely tracked it. Its fist connected with his jaw, sending him flying back through several rock formations. Vegeta immediately transformed, his hair turning blue as he accessed Super Saiyan Blue. Let's see how you handle a real Saiyan Prince. He launched a barrage of punches, but the creature seemed to flow around them like water, its body partially shifting out of dimensional phase whenever Vegeta's attacks should have connected. Physical attacks. The being sounded amused. How primitive. It caught Vegeta's fist, and pain unlike anything he'd experienced shot through his body, not physical pain, but something deeper, as if the creature was attacking his very life force. He dropped to one knee, gasping. Your energy is impressive but unrefined, the being observed. You have touched godly power without understanding its nature. A blast of blue-white energy struck the creature from behind, forcing it to release Vegeta. Goku stood at the crater's edge, already in his Super Saiyan blue form. I don't know what you are, Goku called, but you picked the wrong planet to scout. The creature turned, seemingly unharmed by the attack. Did I? I've been here less than 5 minutes and already assessed that while you possess significant power, you lack the harmony necessary to truly threaten my master. It moved again, this time attacking both Saions simultaneously, its limbs seeming to exist in multiple places at once. Despite their speed and power, Goku and Vegeta found themselves overwhelmed, unable to land effective blows against an opponent that could partially phase out of reality. Goku skidded back, wiping blood from his lip. This isn't working. We need to kick it up a notch. His aura flared as he pushed beyond blue, his hair turning silver as the heat of Ultra Instinct washed over him. His movements became fluid, automatic, his body responding to attacks before his mind registered them. For the first time, the creature seemed concerned, especially when Goku's fist connected solidly with its chest, sending it crashing into the crater wall. Interesting, it said, rising unsteadily. That's silver energy, it transcends dimensional boundaries. You might actually be a threat. Vegeta, not to be outdone, called upon his own ultimate power. Purple destruction energy swirled around him as the markings of Ultra Ego appeared on his face. Don't forget about me, he growled, his voice deeper, more primal. I get stronger with every attack you land. Keep hitting me, I dare you. The creature's shifting eyes widened. 2 different paths to transcendence, one through self-erasure, one through self-embodiment. How fascinating. It attacked again, but now the battle shifted. Ultra Instinct allowed Goku to anticipate the creature's dimensional shifts, while Ultra Ego enabled Vegeta to absorb and redirect the strange energy attacks. Working in tandem, they began to push the being back. Enough, it suddenly declared, leaping away from them. I've gathered sufficient data. Your forms are impressive but flawed. Each powerful alone, yet fundamentally limited. Its body began to glow with intense light. My master will be pleased to know that while this dimension has defenders with divine potential, none have achieved true harmony. The conquest will proceed as planned. We're not done yet. Goku lunged forward. For now, we are, the creature replied. But we will meet again when the crossing begins. Perhaps by then, you'll have realized the futility of your separated paths. Before either Saiyan could reach it, the being's body collapsed into a singularity of light and vanished with an implosion of air. Goku and Vegeta stood in the crater, their transformations fading as they processed what had happened. It wasn't even trying to win, Vegeta realized. It was analyzing us. And it wasn't impressed, Goku added, unusually somber. Did you feel that power? It was like it existed in 2 places at once. Dual harmony, Vegeta muttered. If that was just a scout, and it could already phase between dimensions. Then its master might be on a completely different level, Goku finished. We need to figure this out, and fast. They returned to the Yardrat settlement, where Pabara and the elders waited anxiously. We sensed the battle, Pabara said. The entity has departed? For now, Goku confirmed. But it confirmed everything you told us. Something big is coming, something that's mastered what you call dual harmony. The ancient texts speak of one being above all others who mastered this power, Pabara said gravely. One who believed harmony gave him the right to impose his will across all dimensions. They called him Kairos, the Convergent One. Kairos, Vegeta repeated. And this scout was just a fragment of his power? If the legends are true, yes, Pabara nodded. Kairos exists simultaneously across multiple dimensions. What you encountered may have been merely an extension of his consciousness. Goku's expression hardened with determination. Then I definitely need to master combining Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. It's the only way we'll stand a chance. And I need to push Ultra Ego to its limits, Vegeta added. Find strengths this Kairos doesn't anticipate. Pabara looked between them. The path you seek is dangerous. Few have attempted it and maintained their sanity. Are you prepared for what it might cost you? Goku and Vegeta exchanged glances, rivals, yet united in purpose. We don't have a choice, Goku said simply. If we don't try, everyone we care about could be in danger. Very well, Pabara sighed. We will help you understand the principles of harmony. But remember, true balance comes not from forcing opposites together, but from finding the point where they naturally meet. As the Yard Rats began preparations for their training, Goku gazed up at the pink sky, where faint ripples, like the aurora they'd seen on Earth, had begun to appear. Whatever's coming, he said quietly, it's getting closer. Vegeta stood beside him, arms crossed. For once, Kakarot, I hope your reckless experimentation pays off. Because if that scout was any indication, we're going to need every advantage we can get. The ripples in the sky pulsed, as if in agreement. Chapter 2, The Harmony Paradox. Dawn broke over the Yardrat landscape, painting the already pink sky in deeper shades of rose and violet. Goku stood alone atop a cliff, eyes closed, attempting to quiet his mind while simultaneously embracing his emotions, a contradiction that made his head hurt worse than Chi-Chi's frying pan. This is impossible, he muttered, opening his eyes to watch the sunrise. 3 weeks on Yardrat had yielded progress in understanding the philosophical principles behind the transformations, but practical application remained frustratingly out of reach. A rush of air announced Vegeta's arrival. The prince landed silently beside him, arms crossed as usual. Still can't do it? Vegeta asked, though he already knew the answer. Nope. Goku stretched his shoulders. Every time I get Ultra Instinct flowing, any emotion I try to add collapses the whole thing. And if I start with emotions, I can't empty my mind enough for Ultra Instinct. Because they're fundamentally incompatible, Vegeta stated for what felt like the 100th time. Even the Yardrats admit no one has successfully combined these specific energies before. But their legends say it's possible. Goku protested. And that scout, it definitely had both energies working together. Vegeta scowled. That thing wasn't even fully in our dimension. Different rules might apply. Or maybe we're just approaching it wrong. Goku turned to face his rival. How's your training going? A rare smile flashed across Vegeta's face. Ultra Ego responds well to Yardrat's spirit control. I've doubled my power output and extended my transformation time. See? Goku grinned. We're making progress. You're not, Vegeta corrected. I am. Before Goku could respond, a familiar energy signature appeared behind them. They turned to find Pabara, the elder Yardrat, floating cross-legged in the air. The morning offers new perspectives, the elder said cryptically. Have you considered, Goku, that you might be forcing a door that needs to be unlocked? Huh? Pabara gestured toward the horizon. When day meets night, there is neither day nor night, but something else entirely, twilight. It exists not because light forces itself upon darkness or darkness upon light, but because there is a natural transition between them. Goku scratched his head. So, I need to find the twilight between Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego? Perhaps, Pabara nodded. Rather than forcing them together, seek the point where they naturally transition into each other. That's what I've been trying to tell him, Vegeta interjected. These powers represent opposing philosophical approaches to combat. Yet they both spring from the same source, Pibara countered. Divine energy, shaped by perspective. The gods themselves contain multitudes, creation and destruction, emotion and detachment. Goku's eyes widened. Wait. Beerus is a destruction god, but he still has to use Ultra Instinct sometimes, right? He contains both energies. Technically correct, Pibara conceded, though gods naturally compartmentalize these forces. They embody different aspects at different times, rarely simultaneously. But they can do it, Goku insisted, excitement building. Which means it's possible. Vegeta rolled his eyes. Even if it is, you're nowhere near, a distant explosion cut him off. All three turned to see smoke rising from the Yardrat settlement. The city. Pibara gasped. Without hesitation, both scions launched into the air, racing toward the disturbance. As they approached, they felt unfamiliar energy signatures, similar to the scout they'd encountered, but multiple sources this time. They arrived to find three beings similar to the scout, shifting, fluid forms with dual-colored eyes, attacking the settlement. Yardrats fought back with their unique techniques, but they were clearly outmatched. More scouts. Vegeta growled, immediately powering up to Super Saiyan Blue. No, Goku's expression hardened as he matched Vegeta's transformation. These feel different, more solid. I think they're actually fully here, not halfway between dimensions. Then they can be hurt, Vegeta smirked, launching himself at the nearest attacker. The battle erupted across the Yardrat settlement. Unlike the scout, these beings couldn't phase through attacks, but they compensated with raw power and strange abilities, manipulating gravity, reversing momentum, and absorbing energy attacks. Goku found himself struggling against an opponent who seemed to anticipate his movements, countering with precision. When he landed a powerful kick, the being simply redirected the force back at him, sending Goku crashing through several buildings. They're using both energies, he realized as he pulled himself from the rubble. Not just physically, they're fighting with both the instinctive reactions of Ultra Instinct and the emotional power of Ultra Ego. Across the battlefield, Vegeta roared as he pushed into Ultra Ego, purple destruction energy swirling around him. His attacks gained new potency, actually forcing his opponent backward. Is this all you've got? Vegeta taunted. Your scout put up a better fight. His opponent's shifting face formed what might have been a smile. We are merely the vanguard. Preparing the way. For what? Vegeta demanded, throwing a punch that the being caught, though the impact created a shockwave that shattered nearby windows. For inevitability, it replied simply. Meanwhile, Goku had transformed into Ultra Instinct, his silver aura flowing around him as his body moved autonomously, finding openings in his opponent's defense. The being seemed genuinely surprised by the transformation, taking several solid hits before adjusting its strategy. Interesting, it said, voice resonating oddly. You've achieved the silver state, but not mastery of it. You still think too much. Working on it, Goku replied, letting his body flow through the motions without conscious direction. The battle intensified as the third being joined the attack on Goku, forcing him to defend against two opponents simultaneously. Even with Ultra Instinct, he found himself overwhelmed by their coordinated assault. Vegeta, he called out. A little help here. The prince disengaged from his own fight with a powerful blast that sent his opponent crashing into a distant mountain. He joined Goku, back to back, as they faced the remaining attackers. They're stronger than they should be, Vegeta noted, breathing heavily. They're working together perfectly, Goku observed. Like they share one mind. As if confirming his suspicion, the beings moved in perfect synchronization, attacking from multiple angles with complementary techniques that left no opening for counterattack. This isn't working, Goku grunted, blocking a barrage of strikes. We need to try something new. If you suggest fusion, I will personally ensure you never eat again, Vegeta growled. Not fusion, Goku said, an idea forming. But maybe, coordination. Like they're doing. Without waiting for Vegeta's agreement, Goku grabbed his shoulder and used instant transmission, teleporting them both high above the battlefield. "What are you?" Vegeta started. "They're using both types of energy together because they're connected," Goku explained hurriedly. "What if we coordinate our attacks? Your Ultra Ego and my Ultra Instinct, working in tandem?" Vegeta considered for a split second. "Fine. What's the plan?" "I'll lead with Ultra Instinct to create openings, you follow with Ultra Ego to capitalize on them. They won't be able to counter both approaches simultaneously." A rare moment of perfect understanding passed between the rivals. Vegeta nodded. They dropped from the sky like twin meteors, their silver and purple auras streaking behind them. The beings looked up just as the Scions initiated their coordinated assault. Goku moved first, Ultra Instinct guiding his body to feint and strike in ways that forced the beings to commit to specific defensive postures. The moment they did, Vegeta followed, his Ultra Ego-enhanced attack smashing through those committed defenses with devastating force. For the first time, the invaders seemed genuinely troubled. They attempted to adjust, but the Scion's coordination proved too unpredictable, Goku's instinctive movements creating openings that Vegeta's raw emotional power exploited perfectly. "It's working!" Goku called excitedly, narrowly ducking a counterattack that Vegeta immediately punished with a devastating uppercut. The invaders retreated, regrouping in midair. "This resistance exceeds parameters," one stated. "Adjustment required," another replied. "Convergence authorized," the third concluded. Before the Scions could press their advantage, the three beings moved together, their fluid forms merging into a single, larger entity with 6 arms and 3 faces, each eye now containing both silver and purple energy. "Oh, that's not good," Goku muttered. The merged being attacked with terrifying coordination, each pair of arms employing different fighting styles simultaneously. Even with their newfound coordination, Goku and Vegeta found themselves outmatched again. A devastating blow sent Vegeta crashing into the Yardrat training grounds. Goku teleported to his side, helping him up. "Any other brilliant ideas?" Vegeta coughed, wiping blood from his mouth. "Just one," Goku said grimly. "But you're not going to like it." He placed his hand on Vegeta's shoulder and raised 2 fingers to his forehead. "Oh no," Vegeta started, but they had already vanished. Earth's atmosphere flickered with the same strange aurora they'd seen before leaving, though now it pulsed with greater intensity. Goku and Vegeta materialized on the lookout, finding Piccolo, Gohan, and the other Z fighters already gathered. "Dad!" Gohan rushed forward. "What's happening?" "These energy disturbances, it's bad," Goku admitted. "Really bad. There's a being called Kairos trying to break into our dimension. He's already sent advance forces to Yardrat." "We felt enormous power fluctuations," Piccolo said. "Your battle?" Vegeta nodded grimly. "We fought 3 beings with powers similar to Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego combined. When we started winning, they merged into something we couldn't handle. And there's more coming," Goku added. "These were just the advance team. We need help. That's why we're all here." Krillin stepped forward, determination on his face despite the obvious fear in his eyes. "The disturbances have been getting worse. Even Master Roshi felt something was wrong." "Where is Whis?" Vegeta demanded. "He should be here if a threat of this magnitude approaches." "He and Lord Beerus left for the sacred world of the Kais," Gohan explained. "They said something about consulting the other gods of destruction." Goku's expression grew serious. "Then they know how bad this is. We need to," his words cut off as the aurora above them intensified dramatically, swirling into a vortex of unnatural colors. The lookout itself trembled as reality seemed to warp around them. "It's happening," Piccolo growled. "Whatever's coming, it's breaking through." The vortex collapsed inward before exploding outward in a shockwave that knocked everyone off their feet. When they looked up, a figure hovered above the lookout, humanoid but wrong somehow, as if assembled from mismatched pieces of reality. His skin shifted between solid and fluid, occasionally revealing glimpses of cosmos beneath. One eye glowed silver, the other purple, while patterns that resembled both Ultra Instinct's silver glow and Ultra Ego's dark markings adorned his form. He wore armor that seemed to exist partially in another dimension, components appearing and disappearing as he moved. At last, the being's voice resonated across multiple frequencies simultaneously. A dimension worthy of my attention. That's him, Goku whispered, climbing to his feet. Kairos. The being, Kairos, surveyed the gathered defenders with mild interest. Curious. This world has multiple beings capable of channeling divine energy. His gaze settled on Goku and Vegeta. Ah, the ones my fragments encountered. You show promise, though your understanding remains fragmented. Vegeta stepped forward defiantly. Who exactly are you? And what gives you the right to invade our dimension? I am Kairos, the Convergent One, he replied simply, as if that explained everything. As for rights, they belong to those with the vision to exercise them. I have mastered what you barely comprehend, the harmonious union of opposing forces. He gestured, and reality itself seemed to bend slightly. I exist simultaneously across multiple states of being. Emotion and detachment. Creation and destruction. Past and future. That doesn't answer my question, Vegeta growled. Kairos smiled, an expression that somehow existed between serenity and malice. I seek balance, Prince of Science. The multiverse suffers from disharmony. Too many dimensions exist in isolation, developing along chaotic, unpredictable paths. And let me guess, Goku said, stepping forward to stand beside Vegeta. You think you should be the one to fix that? Not think, no, Kairos corrected. I have achieved what the gods themselves cannot, perfect harmony between opposing forces. This grants me perspective beyond mortal or divine understanding. He floated down to the lookout surface, his feet not quite touching the tiles. I've observed your dimension for some time. It contains remarkable potential, multiple mortal beings approaching divinity, gods who interact directly with lower life forms, even fusion between different entities. His dual-colored eyes narrowed. Yet it remains fundamentally unbalanced. Too much destruction without purpose. Too much power without wisdom. So what? Krillin found the courage to speak up. Every dimension has problems. That doesn't give you the right to invade. Kairos regarded him with something like amusement. Brave little mortal. Your perspective is understandably limited. He turned back to Goku and Vegeta. I came personally because my fragments reported potential resistance worth addressing directly. They were correct, you too have touched the edges of what I mastered long ago. If you're so powerful, Gohan challenged, stepping protectively in front of the others, what do you want with our dimension? To incorporate it, of course, Kairos replied calmly. To bring it into harmonious alignment with the others I've balanced. The process requires adjustment. Removal of disruptive elements. Reinforcement of stabilizing factors. Piccolo's eyes widened in realization. You're talking about remaking our entire reality. Precisely, Kairos nodded, pleased. The Namekian understands. Your dimension will be improved, made part of a greater balanced whole, under my guidance. And if we refuse this improvement? Vegeta demanded. Kairos's expression turned cold. Resistance merely determines whether the transition is gradual or immediate. The outcome remains the same. We'll see about that. Goku's voice hardened as he began to power up, his aura flaring blue before shifting toward silver. Vegeta followed suit, destruction energy swirling around him as he accessed Ultra Ego. Kairos observed them with clinical interest. Fascinating. One pursues self-erasure through Ultra Instinct. The other, self-embodiment through Ultra Ego. Both approaches have merit, yet both remain fundamentally limited while separated. We'll show you limited. Goku charged, his silver aura blazing as Ultra Instinct took hold. The battle that followed was unlike anything Earth had ever witnessed. Goku and Vegeta attacked with everything they had, their Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego forms pushing beyond previous limits. The other Z fighters joined in, coordinating their attacks to support the Scions. Yet Kairos moved through their assault with disturbing ease, sometimes evading attacks before they were launched, other times absorbing the energy and redirecting it. He seemed to exist partially outside conventional physics, making his movements unpredictable and his defenses nearly impenetrable. "You fight well," he commented, casually deflecting a Kamehameha from Goku while simultaneously countering Vegeta's final flash with a wave of his hand. "But you're fighting with fragmented power against unified harmony." With a gesture that barely seemed like effort, he released a wave of energy that sent all the defenders crashing into the lookout structures. Only Goku and Vegeta recovered quickly, though both showed signs of fatigue. "This is insane," Goku panted. "He's not even trying." "He's using both types of energy simultaneously," Vegeta observed. "Anticipating attacks with something like Ultra Instinct while powering his counterattacks with emotions like Ultra Ego." Kairos approached them slowly. "Your assessment is partially correct, Prince. But it's not merely using both energies, it's understanding that they were never truly separate to begin with." With blinding speed, he appeared between them, a hand on each Scion's chest. "Allow me to demonstrate." Energy, neither destructive nor creative but somehow both, flowed from his hands, sending Goku and Vegeta flying in opposite directions. They crashed through the lookouts buildings, their transformations flickering from the impact. "Dad!" Gohan rushed to Goku's side while Piccolo checked on Vegeta. "Such potential, wasted on limited perspective," Kairos sighed, almost regretfully. "Perhaps a more direct demonstration will help you understand what you're facing." He raised his hand, and reality itself seemed to fold around it. A small sphere of energy formed, half silver, half purple, growing rapidly in intensity. "This attack contains harmonized energy," Kairos explained conversationally. "It will erase matter while simultaneously destroying the spiritual essence, leaving nothing to be restored or reincarnated. A true ending." He aimed the sphere at the fallen fighters. "Consider this mercy. The coming rebalancing will be far less pleasant for those who remain." "Stop!" The command came not from any of the defenders, but from above. Everyone looked up to see Beerus and Whis descending rapidly, accompanied by the Supreme Kai. Well, Kairos lowered his hand slightly, the deadly sphere still pulsing. "The destruction god of this dimension. I wondered when you would make an appearance." Beerus landed between Kairos and the defenders, his expression unusually serious. "This dimension is under my protection, Kairos. Your rebalancing isn't welcome here." "You know him?" Vegeta managed to ask as he struggled to his feet. Unfortunately, Beerus replied without taking his eyes off the intruder. "We've met before." Such cold greeting for an old training partner, Kairos smiled, though the expression held no warmth. "Has it been so long that you've forgotten our shared pursuit of power, Beerus?" The gathered fighters exchanged shocked glances. "Training partner?" Goku repeated incredulously. "Former training partner," Beerus corrected sharply. Before he decided godhood wasn't enough and sought power beyond his station. Kairos laughed, a sound that somehow contained both melodious harmony and discordant notes. "Beyond my station? I simply refuse to accept the artificial limitations imposed by the hierarchy of gods. Why should divine power be compartmentalized? Why must creation and destruction remain separate?" "Because balance requires separation," Whis interjected calmly. "The cosmos functions through counterbalancing forces, not their homogenization. A convenient philosophy for those who benefit from the current order," Kairos replied. His gaze returned to Beerus. "You could have joined me, you know. You showed such promise, understanding destruction's necessary role in creation. But in the end, you chose the comfortable confines of your assigned role. I chose sanity," Beerus snapped. What you call harmony is merely the corruption of distinct cosmic forces into an abomination. Strong words from someone who has never experienced true harmony, Kairos sighed. But I didn't cross dimensional barriers to debate philosophy with former associates. He turned his attention back to Goku and the others. These mortals interest me far more. They pursue power without the constraints of divine dogma. Especially these two, he indicated Goku and Vegeta, who have touched both sides of the divine equation. Leave them out of this, Beerus growled. Your quarrel is with the divine hierarchy, not mortal fighters. On the contrary, Kairos countered. Mortals who approach divinity are precisely why this dimension caught my attention. They represent potential free from the calcified thinking of gods. He studied Goku with disturbing intensity. This one in particular, he seeks the same harmony I achieved, though he doesn't fully understand it yet. Don't compare me to you, Goku said, finally back on his feet. I just want to protect my friends and get stronger. I don't need some harmonized philosophy to justify invading other dimensions. Noble sentiment, Kairos nodded. But limited perspective. You seek power without understanding its purpose. He turned back to Beerus. I've indulged this reunion long enough. Will you stand aside and allow the inevitable, old friend? Or must I demonstrate how far beyond you I've evolved? Beerus's aura flared, destruction energy radiating from him in waves. This is still my domain, Kairos. And you're trespassing. As you wish, Kairos sighed, almost regretfully. The battle between gods made the previous fight look like a playground scuffle. Beerus attacked with the full might of a destruction god, while Whis supported with his staff, creating barriers and distortions to contain the devastating energies. Yet even against these divine opponents, Kairos maintained the upper hand. He moved with both the fluid precision of Ultra Instinct and the raw emotional power of Ultra Ego, anticipating attacks while simultaneously generating overwhelming force. You've improved, Beerus, Kairos commented while effortlessly deflecting a Hakai sphere. But you're still bound by singular perspective. Destruction alone, without the balance of creation. This is bad, Supreme Kai muttered as they watched from a protective barrier Whis had erected. Even Lord Beerus can't match him. Because Kairos is using both energies together, Goku realized. He's not limited to destruction or creation, he's using both simultaneously. The battle intensified as Beerus grew visibly frustrated, his attacks becoming more ferocious but less precise. Kairos exploited this, landing devastating counterattacks that sent the destruction god crashing across the lookout. You see the problem? Kairos called to the observers as he easily avoided another attack. Beerus embodies destruction perfectly, but without balance. One-dimensional power, however great, cannot match harmonized force. To demonstrate his point, he caught Beerus's next attack with one hand while generating a sphere of swirling energy with the other, half destruction, half creation. Observe true harmony, he said, almost educationally, as he drove the sphere into Beerus's chest. The destruction god roared in pain as the dual energies disrupted his divine essence, forcing him to his knees. Whis immediately intervened, his staff creating a barrier that separated Beerus from the harmful energies. Enough, Whis stated, his usually calm demeanor showing rare signs of concern. This confrontation benefits no one, Kairos. On the contrary, Kairos replied. It perfectly demonstrates why rebalancing is necessary. Even gods cling to outdated models of power. He turned to address all present. I came to this dimension because it shows unusual potential, mortals approaching divinity, gods interacting directly with lower beings. Unusual combinations that suggest readiness for the next evolutionary step. His dual-colored eyes scanned the defenders. I will grant you time to consider your position. Resistance is ultimately futile, but how you join the harmonized cosmos remains your choice. Accept willingly, and your transition will be gentle. Continue fighting, and the rebalancing will be less pleasant. And if we refuse entirely? Gohan challenged. Kairos smiled that unsettling half-serene, half-malicious smile. There is no refusal, only delayed acceptance. But I respect strength, even misguided strength. You have 3 days to consider while I establish stabilization points around your world. With that, he rose into the air. Beerus, our reunion was illuminating, if disappointing. Perhaps next time you'll have reconsidered your position. This isn't over, Kairos, Beerus growled, still recovering from the attack. Of course not. It's barely begun. Kairos gave one last look at Goku. Especially for you, Scion. You stand at a crossroad similar to where I once stood. Choose wisely. In a flash of light that bent reality itself, he vanished, though the disturbing aurora remained in the sky above. For a moment, no one spoke, processing what had just happened. Then Vegeta turned to Beerus. You have some explaining to do, he demanded. That was no ordinary enemy. He knew you, trained with you. Beerus sighed, looking genuinely troubled. It was long ago, before any of you existed. Kairos was different then. Different how? Goku pressed. He was a candidate for God of Destruction in another universe, Whis explained when Beerus seemed reluctant to continue. He trained alongside Beerus and several others under the Grand Priest. But he wasn't selected, Beerus added bitterly. His philosophy troubled the higher gods. He believed the separation between creation and destruction was artificial, that true divinity meant mastering both simultaneously. Which goes against the fundamental cosmic order, Supreme Kai interjected. Creation and destruction must remain balanced but separate forces. Says who? Goku questioned, surprising everyone. If Kairos figured out how to use both, maybe the cosmic order isn't as fixed as you think. Careful, Goku, Whis warned. You're approaching the same dangerous thinking that corrupted Kairos. I'm not saying he's right about invading dimensions or rebalancing anything, Goku clarified. But maybe he's onto something about these energies not being as separate as we thought. Beerus studied Goku with narrowed eyes. You're still trying to combine Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, aren't you? Maybe, Goku admitted. And seeing Kairos use both together proves it's possible. Possible, but at what cost? Beerus gestured to the still pulsing aurora. Look what it's done to him, he exists partially outside normal reality. His mind has fragmented across multiple dimensions. What you saw wasn't harmony, it was cosmic corruption. There must be another way, Goku insisted. A way to balance these energies without corrupting them. There isn't, Beerus stated flatly. The angels might manage it because they exist beyond normal limitations, but mortals, even scions, would be torn apart by the conflicting forces. Then how does Kairos do it? Vegeta demanded. Whis and Beerus exchanged glances. We're not entirely sure, Whis admitted. After being rejected for Destruction God, Kairos disappeared into the void between dimensions. When he returned centuries later, he had changed, achieving something like what you witnessed, but at great cost to his sanity and soul. He calls it balanced destruction, Beerus added. Using creation energy to enhance destruction rather than oppose it. It's an abomination against the natural order, but undeniably powerful. So powerful that even you couldn't stand against him, Piccolo observed. Beerus scowled but didn't contradict him. What do we do now? Gohan asked the question everyone was thinking. We prepare, Goku said, his usual carefree demeanor replaced by determined focus. We have 3 days before Kairos expects an answer. That's 3 days to find a way to fight him. Fight him? Krillin looked incredulous. Goku, he just handled all of us plus Beerus without breaking a sweat. We weren't ready, Goku countered. Now we know what we're facing. Knowing doesn't make it any less impossible, Vegeta pointed out, though his tone suggested he wasn't advocating surrender. Since when do we let impossible stop us? Goku grinned, some of his characteristic optimism returning. We've faced gods before. We've overcome every limit placed in front of us. This is just another wall to break through. His enthusiasm, while familiar, failed to fully convince the others. What's your plan, then? Beerus asked skeptically. Even with 3 days of intensive training, you won't approach Kairos's level of power. Maybe not through conventional means, Goku acknowledged. But what if there is a way to combine these energies safely? The Yard Rats were teaching us about finding the natural transition point between opposing forces. The Twilight Principle, Vegeta remembered. Exactly. Goku turned to Whis. You know more about both these energies than anyone. There must be something connecting them, some point where they naturally meet. Whis tapped his staff thoughtfully. It's not entirely without precedent. Divine energies do exist on a spectrum rather than as entirely separate forces. Finding the connection, however. It would require perfect understanding of both sides, Beerus interjected. Something even gods struggle with. Then we start there, Goku decided. Vegeta and I each understand one side of the equation. If we can learn from each other, really understand each other's perspective, maybe we can find that connection point. That's actually not completely idiotic, Vegeta admitted reluctantly. Indeed, Whis nodded. Though understanding may not be enough. Implementation would still risk tearing apart a mortal body. One problem at a time, Goku replied. First, let's figure out if it's even possible. Then we'll worry about making it work. As they discussed strategy, the aurora above pulsed more intensely, reminding them of the ticking clock. We should split up, Gohan suggested. Dad and Vegeta can work on this combined energy approach with Whis. The rest of us should track Kairos's movements and protect civilians. Agreed, Piccolo nodded. He mentioned establishing stabilization points. We need to find out what those are and what they do. I'll consult the other Kais, Supreme Kai offered. There may be records of Kairos's previous rebalancing efforts in other dimensions. And Beerus started, then winced, still feeling the effects of Kairos's attack. I'll need to recover first. That harmonized energy disrupted my divine essence. I can assist with that, my lord, Whis assured him. Though it will take time. Time we don't have much of, Vegeta reminded everyone. Plans were quickly finalized. The Z fighters would monitor Earth for signs of Kairos's activity while gathering whatever forces they could muster. Meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta would return to the sacred realm with Whis and Beerus to pursue their dangerous energy experiment. As the groups prepared to depart, Goku pulled Gohan aside. Be careful out there, son, he said seriously. Kairos is unlike anything we've faced before. I know, Dad, Gohan assured him. But I've got Piccolo and the others. We'll be fine. Goku nodded, but his usual confidence seemed diminished. If anything changes, anything at all, contact us immediately through King Kai. What about you? Gohan asked. This combination you're attempting. Beerus seemed to think it would destroy you. Maybe, Goku admitted with a small smile. But when has that ever stopped me? Despite his father's attempted lightheartedness, Gohan's concern remained evident. Just, don't push too far, okay? We need you in this fight. I'll be careful, Goku promised, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. As careful as I can be while trying something impossible. They shared a brief laugh before Goku rejoined Vegeta, Whis, and the injured Beerus. With a tap of Whis's staff, they vanished. Beerus's planet hung in space like a jewel, its unusual small size belying its importance in the cosmic hierarchy. Within its boundaries, time flowed differently, offering more than the mere 3 days they had before Kairos expected their answer. In an open field, Goku and Vegeta sat cross-legged, facing each other while Whis observed from nearby. Beerus rested under a tree, still recovering from his encounter with Kairos. The first step, Whis instructed, is not attempting to combine the energies, but truly understanding their nature. Vegeta, explain Ultra Ego as you experience it. The Scion Prince scowled, uncomfortable with the exercise but recognizing its necessity. Ultra ego isn't just power, he began reluctantly. It's embracing who you are completely. Accepting your desires, your pride, your battle lust, making them sources of strength rather than weaknesses to overcome. And the destruction energy? Whis prompted. It responds to this self-acceptance, Vegeta continued. The more I embrace my true nature, especially in battle, the more destruction energy flows through me. Taking damage actually feeds the cycle, turning pain into power. Goku listened with unusual attentiveness. So it's about being intensely yourself? Precisely, Whis nodded. Ultra ego channels the divine principle of identity, of being fully present in your existence. Now, Goku, explain Ultra Instinct. It's almost the opposite, Goku said thoughtfully. Ultra Instinct happens when I stop thinking, stop feeling, when I let my body move on its own without me getting in the way. Self-erasure, Vegeta summarized. Kind of, yeah, Goku agreed. But it's not really erasing yourself completely, more like, stepping aside. Letting something deeper take over. The divine principle of transcendence, Whis added. Moving beyond individual limitations into universal flow. Beerus stirred under his tree. And here lies the paradox. One cannot simultaneously embody perfect self-identity and perfect self-transcendence. They are mutually exclusive states of being. But what if they're not opposites? Goku suggested. What if they're just different expressions of the same thing? Explain, Whis looked intrigued. Well. Goku struggled to articulate his intuition. When I'm in Ultra Instinct, I'm not really gone. Something deeper is moving my body. Something that's still me, but, more fundamental. Your essential nature, Whis nodded. The core of your being beneath conscious thought. Right. Goku brightened. And Vegeta's ultra ego is about embracing his essential nature too, just approaching it from the opposite direction. Vegeta's eyes widened slightly as he considered this perspective. You might actually have a point, Kakarot. Ultra ego isn't about artificial pride or manufactured emotion, it's about connecting with my deepest identity as a warrior. Two paths to the same destination, Whis mused. Fascinating. So the connection point. Goku leaned forward excitedly, is this essential nature, this core being that both forms try to access in different ways. Theoretically sound, Beerus called from his tree. Practically impossible. Even understanding the connection doesn't mean you can embody both approaches simultaneously. Unless. Vegeta stood suddenly, pacing as he thought. Unless the key isn't trying to use both techniques at once, but finding the state of being that precedes both of them. The twilight between day and night, Goku remembered the Yardrat Elder's words. Exactly, Vegeta nodded. What if, instead of forcing Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego together, we look for the state of consciousness that exists before they diverge? Whis tapped his staff approvingly. Very insightful, Vegeta. The ancient texts call this the primal state, the consciousness that exists before differentiation into subject and object. So how do we find it? Goku asked eagerly. That's the challenging part, Whis admitted. For most beings, divine or mortal, this state remains theoretical. The cosmic forces differentiated eons ago, making the primal state nearly impossible to access directly. Nearly impossible isn't the same as completely impossible, Goku grinned. Indeed, Whis agreed. And if any mortals could touch this state, it would be you too. Your experiences with divine energy have already taken you further than most gods. So what's the next step? Vegeta demanded. We don't have time for philosophical debates. Practical application, Whis decided. You each need to experience the other's transformation, not just observe it, but truly understand it from the inside. How are we supposed to do that? Vegeta scoffed. I can't use Ultra Instinct any more than Kakarot can use Ultra Ego. Not directly, Whis acknowledged. But I can temporarily link your consciousness during meditation. Allow you to experience each other's transformations from within. The Saiyans exchanged dubious glances. You want to connect our minds? Goku clarified. Briefly, yes, Whis confirmed. Just enough for each of you to experience the other's divine state firsthand. Absolutely not, Vegeta crossed his arms defiantly. Having Kakarot bumbling around in my consciousness is where I draw the line. Ah, come on, Vegeta. Goku protested. It's not like I want to see inside your head either, but if it helps us stop Kairos. There has to be another way, Vegeta insisted. There isn't, Beerus stated flatly, joining the conversation properly for the first time. Not within your time constraints. Either accept Whis' method or abandon this fool's errand entirely. The rivals glared at each other for a long moment before Vegeta finally relented with a frustrated growl. Fine. But if you mention anything you see in there to anyone, Kakarot, I'll end you myself. Deal, Goku agreed cheerfully. Though I bet your inner world is just you standing on a mountain of defeated enemies shouting about Saiyan pride. And yours is probably an endless buffet, Vegeta shot back. Let's begin, Whis interrupted before their bickering could continue. Sit facing each other and clear your minds as best you can. The Saiyans complied, settling into meditation poses. Whis stood between them, his staff glowing with ethereal light. I'll establish the connection gradually, he explained. First, you'll sense each other's energy patterns. Then emotional states. Finally, complete consciousness sharing. The tip of his staff brightened, creating a bridge of light between Goku and Vegeta's foreheads. Remember, Whis cautioned, the goal is understanding, not judgment. Experience without resistance. The connection activated, and both Saiyans gasped as they began sensing each other's energy patterns. The familiar rivalry took on new dimensions as they felt the subtle differences in how they each channeled ki, Goku's more fluid and adaptive, Vegeta's more focused and intense. Second phase, Whis announced, deepening the connection. Emotions flooded across the bridge, Goku experiencing Vegeta's fierce pride, his constant drive to prove himself, the buried affection for his family that he rarely expressed openly. Meanwhile, Vegeta found himself immersed in Goku's boundless enthusiasm for battle, his genuine love of testing his limits, and the profound sense of responsibility that drove him to protect others. Final phase, Whis warned. Complete consciousness sharing. The world dissolved around them as their minds fully connected. Goku found himself experiencing Vegeta's memories, the destruction of planet Vegeta, years under Frieza's command, the burning shame of repeated defeats, and the slow, painful evolution from villain to reluctant hero to protector. Simultaneously, Vegeta witnessed Goku's journey, the simple joy of his early life, the gradual discovery of his Saiyan heritage, the repeated pattern of facing impossible odds through sheer determination, and the instinctive compassion that defined his approach to both friends and enemies. Now, Whis' voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, each of you access your divine transformation. Let the other experience it from within. Within the shared consciousness, Goku called upon Ultra Instinct. Vegeta felt himself drawn into the experience, the gradual emptying of conscious thought, the surrender to something deeper than individual identity, the peculiar serenity of perfect action without deliberation. Then Vegeta activated Ultra Ego, pulling Goku into his experience, the intense self-awareness, the embracing of primal emotions, the way destruction energy responded to his deepest desires, the exhilaration of becoming more intensely himself with each passing moment. In this shared state, something unexpected happened. For a brief moment, both Saiyans perceived the point where these seemingly opposite transformations connected, a primal consciousness that preceded both self-identity and self-transcendence. A state where being and non-being coexisted before differentiating. There. Goku's thought echoed across their shared consciousness. That's it. I see it, Vegeta acknowledged. The foundation state, before the divergence. As they both focused on this discovered connection point, something new began to form in their shared consciousness, a transformation neither had experienced before. Silver and purple energies swirled together, not fighting but complementing each other. For a fraction of a second, they glimpsed the possibility of what Kairos had achieved, but without the corruption that had twisted his approach. The connection between them suddenly overloaded, shattering the bridge Whis had created. Both scions were thrown backward, gasping as they returned to individual consciousness. "Did you feel that?" Goku exclaimed, climbing to his feet. "We almost had it." "We glimpsed it," Vegeta corrected, more shaken than he wanted to admit. "Actually achieving it is another matter entirely." Whis studied them with intense interest. "Fascinating. You both perceived the primal state, if only momentarily. That's further than most gods ever reach. Can we try again?" Goku asked eagerly. "I think with a little more time, not immediately," Whis cautioned. "The connection taxed both your minds significantly. You need time to process what you experienced." Beerus approached, looking troubled. "Even if you can perceive this primal state, embodying it physically remains nearly impossible. The energy requirements alone would tear apart mortal bodies. But there has to be a way." Goku insisted. "Kairos figured it out." "At what cost?" Beerus countered. "Look at what he's become, existing partially outside normal reality, his consciousness fragmented across dimensions. Is that what you want?" Goku fell uncharacteristically silent, considering this warning. "Perhaps a different approach is needed," Whis suggested after a moment. "Instead of trying to maintain both states simultaneously, what if you learned to shift between them instantaneously? Rapid transformation rather than combination." Vegeta considered. "It might be possible, but would it be powerful enough? Combined with what you've learned about each other's techniques, it could create the appearance of simultaneous usage without the physical toll of actually combining the energies," Whis explained. "It's not the same," Goku frowned. "We'd still be limited to one type of energy at a time. But with instantaneous switching, opponents might not be able to tell the difference," Beerus pointed out. "It could provide tactical advantage without the risk of dimensional corruption." Before they could discuss further, a familiar voice echoed in their minds. "Goku. Vegeta. Can you hear me?" King Kai's telepathic connection sounded urgent. "We hear you," Goku replied. "What's wrong?" "It's Kairos. He's begun establishing his stabilization points around Earth. But they're not what we thought, they're reality anchors designed to gradually rewrite the fundamental laws of your dimension." "What?" Vegeta demanded. "Where is he now?" "That's the problem," King Kai replied frantically. "He's everywhere at once. Multiple manifestations across the planet. Gohan and the others are trying to stop the process, but they're overwhelmed." Goku's expression hardened. "We need to go back. Now." "But your training isn't complete," Whis cautioned. "You've only just glimpsed the connection, you haven't learned to implement it." "Our friends need us," Goku stated simply. "We'll have to figure out the rest as we go." Beerus sighed heavily. Typical Saiyan approach. Rush in half prepared and hope for the best. "It's worked so far," Goku shrugged with a half smile. "Whis, can you take us back to Earth?" "Of course," the angel nodded. "Though I must warn you, confronting Kairos before completing your training significantly reduces your chances of success." "Noted," Vegeta said impatiently. "Now let's go before that dimensional freak reshapes our entire reality." Whis tapped his staff, creating the familiar light that would transport them back to Earth. As it enveloped them, Goku and Vegeta exchanged determined glances, rivals united by common purpose. "Whatever happens," Goku said quietly, "what we saw in that shared state, it's real. There is a connection between these powers." "Perhaps," Vegeta acknowledged. "But theory and application remain worlds apart." "We'll close that gap," Goku promised as they vanished from Beerus's planet. "We have to." They materialized on Earth to find chaos. The sky had transformed completely, now a swirling vortex of unnatural colors with periodic ripples that distorted reality itself. Massive crystalline structures had emerged at strategic points around the planet, each pulsing with the same dual-colored energy that Kairos himself emanated. This brought them directly to where the Z fighters were engaged in battle, a city center where one such crystal structure was being erected. Gohan, Piccolo, and the others fought desperately against what appeared to be multiple versions of Kairos, though closer inspection revealed they were similar to the advanced forces they'd encountered on Yardrat, extensions of Kairos rather than the being himself. "Dad!" Gohan called when he spotted them. "These things are establishing reality anchors. Each one changes the fundamental physics in its area." Goku nodded grimly, immediately powering up to Super Saiyan Blue. Beside him, Vegeta did the same. "We need to destroy the crystals," Vegeta stated, assessing the situation quickly. "We've tried." Piccolo shouted, deflecting an energy attack from one of the Kairos extensions. "Conventional attacks just get absorbed. These things exist partially outside our dimension. Then we need unconventional attacks," Goku decided. Without hesitation, he pushed beyond blue into Ultra Instinct, his hair and aura shifting to silvery white. The familiar calm settled over him as his consciousness stepped back, letting his body move autonomously. Across the battlefield, Vegeta channeled destruction energy, his form shifting into Ultra Ego. "Let's see if these dimensional freaks can handle God power directly." They launched their assault on the crystal structure, Goku's Ultra Instinct allowing him to find minute weaknesses in its dimensional anchoring while Vegeta's Ultra Ego-enhanced attacks exploited those vulnerabilities with raw destructive force. For the first time, the structure showed signs of destabilization, its perfect geometric form distorting slightly. "It's working," Gohan called encouragingly. But their success was short-lived. The Kairos extensions suddenly shifted tactics, all converging to protect the crystal. They moved with perfect coordination that even Ultra Instinct struggled to counter, separating Goku and Vegeta and disrupting their combined assault. "They're adapting," Vegeta growled, fending off 3 attackers simultaneously. "They recognized our strategy immediately." Because they share one consciousness, Piccolo realized. They're not individuals, they're aspects of Kairos himself. As if summoned by the observation, reality warped near the crystal, and Kairos himself appeared, not a fragment or extension, but the full entity they'd encountered on the lookout. "Impressive," he commented, observing the battle with clinical detachment. "You've actually managed to destabilize one of my anchors. Few beings have accomplished that much." "We're just getting started," Goku declared, his Ultra Instinct aura flaring. Kairos studied him with those unsettling dual-colored eyes. "You've been attempting to understand harmony," he observed. "I can sense the residual patterns in your energy." Did Beerus finally admit that it's possible? "We don't need his permission," Vegeta snapped, purple destruction energy swirling around him. "Indeed you don't," Kairos agreed, surprising them. "That's precisely why mortals with divine potential interest me. You're not bound by the artificial limitations the gods impose." He gestured at the crystal. "These stabilization points aren't weapons, they're evolutionary accelerators. They're preparing your dimension for the next stage of development, where beings like you can achieve what I have without the struggles I endured. By rewriting our entire reality without consent." Gohan challenged. "That's not evolution, it's invasion." "Perspective is limited by experience," Kairos replied calmly. "When I began my journey, I thought as you do. But once you glimpse the unified whole, you understand that distinctions between dimensions are as artificial as those between divine energies." He turned back to Goku and Vegeta. "You two have touched the edges of what I mastered. You've even glimpsed the primal state, if I'm reading your energy correctly. Impressive progress in such limited time." "How does he know that?" Vegeta muttered. "Because he's achieved it himself," Goku realized. "He can sense where we've been." Kairos nodded approvingly. "Precisely. And I can also sense that you're approaching it incorrectly," trying to force together energies that must naturally harmonize. The same mistake I initially made. We're nothing like you, Goku stated firmly. Not yet, Kairos agreed. But the potential is there. Particularly in you, Goku. Your natural inclination toward growth makes you an ideal candidate for harmonic evolution. I'm not interested in your evolution if it means rewriting reality and threatening my friends, Goku replied. A limited perspective, but understandable, Kairos sighed. Perhaps a more direct demonstration will help you comprehend what's at stake. Without warning, he attacked, not with physical force, but with a wave of harmonized energy that distorted the very fabric of reality around the Z fighters. Everyone except Goku and Vegeta dropped to their knees, their bodies seemingly unable to process the conflicting dimensional signals. Stop! Goku demanded, charging forward. What followed was less a battle than a lesson in humility. Despite their divine transformations, neither Saiyan could land effective blows against Kairos. He moved with the perfect reflexes of Ultra Instinct while striking with the emotional power of Ultra Ego, a combination that made him virtually untouchable. You see the limitation? Kairos asked conversationally as he effortlessly deflected their attacks. You each embody one aspect of divine power, but remain blind to half the equation. He caught Vegeta's punch, using the prince's own momentum to throw him into Goku. Ultra Ego makes you powerful but predictable. Ultra Instinct makes you fluid but limited in offensive potential. Both impressive, both fundamentally incomplete. The Saiyans recovered, breathing heavily. He's toying with us, Vegeta growled. Yeah, Goku agreed. But he's also trying to teach us something. Why? Because he sees himself in us, Piccolo suggested, struggling back to his feet. Especially you, Goku. He wants converts, not just conquests. Perceptive, Namekian, Kairos acknowledged. Why destroy potential when it can be elevated? These Saiyans represent the most promising candidates for harmonic ascension I've encountered in centuries. We didn't ask for your elevation, Vegeta snarled, his ultra ego aura intensifying with his anger. Few recognize opportunity when it first appears, Kairos replied. But consider, what you're attempting independently, I've already mastered. I could show you the path to true harmony, the balance point you glimpsed but cannot reach. For a fraction of a second, Goku hesitated, the offer tempting in ways he couldn't fully articulate. The power Kairos wielded was unlike anything he'd encountered, and the possibility of mastering both divine energies. Don't listen to him, Dad. Gohan shouted, recognizing the conflict in his father's expression. Whatever he's offering, the price is too high. The moment passed. Goku's resolve returned, his Ultra Instinct aura stabilizing. Thanks, but I'll figure it out my own way, he told Kairos. That's kind of how I do things. A pity, Kairos sighed. But not unexpected. The path to enlightenment often requires multiple attempts. He raised his hand, and the crystal structure pulsed with increased intensity. Reality around them began to warp more dramatically, buildings and streets partially phasing out of existence. This stabilization point is nearly complete, he informed them. Once activated, it will begin the gradual harmonization of this region, aligning it with the cosmic frequency I've established across multiple dimensions. And what happens to the people here when you harmonize them? Piccolo demanded. Evolution is rarely painless, Kairos admitted. Some will adapt. Some will not. The worthy will transcend their current limitations. That's genocide with extra steps, Gohan growled. It's cosmic necessity, Kairos countered. The multiverse tends toward harmony naturally. I merely accelerate the process. As they argued, Goku had fallen unusually quiet, his Ultra Instinct aura flickering slightly as he seemed to concentrate deeply. Vegeta noticed first. Kakarot, he questioned. What are you doing? Instead of answering, Goku closed his eyes completely, an unusual action in the middle of battle. His silver aura pulsed erratically before suddenly steadying into a more intense glow. "I understand now," he said quietly, opening his eyes. What we glimpsed in that shared state, it wasn't about forcing the energies together. It was about finding the consciousness that precedes both. Kairos's attention shifted fully to Goku, genuine interest in his expression. "You've realized the first truth. Impressive. The primal state isn't something you achieve through effort," Goku continued, his voice taking on an unusual clarity. "It's something you return to by recognizing what was always there." "Dad?" Gohan called, concerned by this strange philosophical turn. "It's okay, son," Goku assured him. "I'm just finally understanding what Whis and the Yardrats were trying to tell me." He turned to Vegeta. "Remember what we experienced in that shared consciousness? That point where Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego seem to flow from the same source?" Vegeta nodded cautiously. "I remember. But we couldn't maintain it. Because we were trying to hold on to it," Goku realized. "Instead of just being it." Without warning, Goku's Ultra Instinct aura began to change, silver light still dominant, but now with faint currents of purple flowing through it. His expression shifted between serene detachment and intense focus, as if two opposing states were attempting to coexist. "Kakarot, stop!" Vegeta warned. "You'll tear yourself apart." "No." Goku's voice strained with effort. "I think I've got it." For a brief moment, the silver and purple energies seemed to stabilize, not fighting each other, but flowing together in a rhythm that echoed the cosmic aurora above. Goku's appearance changed subtly, Ultra Instinct's silver hair and eyes now marked with faint purple patterns reminiscent of Ultra Ego. Kairos watched with undisguised fascination. "Remarkable. You're actually accessing preliminary harmony without proper training. Whatever you're doing, sustain it." Piccolo called. "Your energy is affecting the crystal." Indeed, the stabilization point had begun to vibrate, its perfect structure showing distortions where Goku's harmonized energy field intersected with it. Recognizing the opportunity, Vegeta intensified his Ultra Ego, directing its destructive force toward the same weak points Goku's hybrid energy was creating. "Now, everyone!" Gohan ordered. "Hit it with everything you've got." The Z fighters launched their strongest attacks simultaneously, all focused on the destabilization points Goku and Vegeta had created. For a moment, it seemed to be working, the crystal's structure buckled under the combined assault. But then Goku's harmonized state suddenly collapsed, his body unable to maintain the contradictory energies. He dropped to one knee, silver and purple auras separating before both dissipated entirely. "Impressive attempt," Kairos commented, waving a hand to stabilize the crystal. "But ultimately premature. Harmony cannot be forced through willpower alone." He approached Goku, who struggled to rise, clearly exhausted by the failed transformation. "You touched it briefly, more than most ever achieve. But without proper guidance, the process will destroy you before you master it. Stay back." Vegeta positioned himself protectively in front of Goku, his Ultra Ego aura flaring defiantly. "Your loyalty is commendable, Prince," Kairos noted. "But ultimately futile. What Goku just attempted proves my point, the potential exists, but requires proper evolutionary conditions to flourish." He gestured to the crystal, now glowing with increased intensity. "These stabilization points will create those conditions, allowing beings like you to achieve harmony without self-destruction." "At the cost of everyone who can't adapt," Gohan countered. "That's not a price we're willing to pay." "The choice isn't yours to make," Kairos stated simply. "Evolution proceeds with or without consent." The crystal pulsed, sending a shockwave of energy across the city. Where it passed, reality itself seemed to thin, buildings becoming partially transparent, people flickering like holograms. "The process has begun," Kairos announced. "This region will fully harmonize within hours. Those with divine potential may survive the transition. Others will realign with cosmic patterns." We won't let you do this. Gohan charged, his mystic power flaring around him. Kairos merely gestured, creating a barrier of harmonized energy that Gohan couldn't penetrate. Your determination is admirable but misplaced. This isn't destruction, it's transcendence. Still kneeling, Goku raised his head, his expression unusually solemn. You're wrong, Kairos. I felt it when I touched that harmonic state. True balance doesn't erase diversity, it celebrates it. A philosophical distinction without practical difference, Kairos dismissed. The cosmos trends toward unity, not endless differentiation. No, Goku struggled to his feet, supported by Vegeta. What I felt wasn't about forcing everything to be the same. It was about finding unity within diversity. For the first time, Kairos seemed genuinely troubled by Goku's words. You cannot possibly understand the cosmic principles at work after a mere glimpse of harmony. Maybe not, Goku admitted. But I understand something you've forgotten, connection doesn't have to mean conformity. He looked around at his friends, his son, his rival turned ally. Each of us is different. We have different powers, different approaches, different dreams. But we're strongest when those differences work together, not when they're erased. Sentimental nonsense, Kairos dismissed, though his tone lacked conviction. Cosmic harmony requires standardization of dimensional constants. Does it? Goku challenged. Or is that just the easiest way to control everything? Before Kairos could respond, something unexpected happened. Goku's body suddenly pulsed with renewed energy, not silver or purple, but a strange iridescent aura that seemed to contain elements of both while being something entirely new. What is this? Kairos demanded, genuine surprise in his voice. Goku looked as shocked as everyone else. I don't know exactly, but... He looked down at his hands, watching the strange energy flow around them. It feels right. Not forced, just balanced. The energy responded to his words, intensifying. Unlike his previous attempt, this transformation seemed stable, not fighting itself, but naturally harmonized. Impossible, Kairos whispered. Without training, without preparation, you've somehow accessed true harmony. Not exactly, Goku corrected, his voice echoing slightly with dual tones. This isn't what you have. This is something else. Vegeta stared in disbelief. Kakarot, what did you do? I stopped trying to force the energies together, Goku explained, his expression serene yet intense, a contradiction made manifest. Instead, I just accepted both aspects of myself. The part that fights for the joy of it, and the part that fights to protect others. The part that loves being me, and the part that can set myself aside when needed. His aura stabilized further, taking on a more defined form, iridescent energy that shifted between silver and purple without conflict, his hair similarly changing between Ultra Instinct silver and subtle Ultra Ego markings. That's not possible, Kairos insisted, though his confidence seemed shaken. I spent centuries mastering harmonic energy. You cannot simply stumble into it. Maybe you took the wrong approach, Goku suggested. Forcing harmony instead of allowing it naturally. Without warning, he moved, faster than even Kairos could track. One moment he stood exhausted beside Vegeta, the next he was directly in front of the crystalline structure, hand pressed against its surface. Where Goku's harmonized energy touched the crystal, cracks began to spread, not from physical force, but from fundamental incompatibility. His natural harmony disrupted the artificial frequency Kairos had engineered. Stop! Kairos commanded, genuine alarm in his voice. You don't understand what you're doing. That harmonic state is unstable, you'll destroy yourself along with the stabilization point. Maybe, Goku acknowledged, his voice strained despite his apparent harmony. But better that than letting you rebalance everyone without their consent. The crystal's disruption accelerated, cracks spreading throughout its structure as Goku's harmonized energy infiltrated its matrix. Kairos attacked, attempting to separate Goku from the stabilization point, but found himself blocked by Vegeta and Gohan. Whatever you're doing, Kakarot, finish it quickly. Vegeta called. We can't hold him long. Goku nodded, pushing more of his harmonized energy into the crystal. Sweat beaded on his forehead as the strain of maintaining this new state began to show. This is your last warning, Kairos threatened, easily fending off Vegeta and Gohan's attacks. That harmony is imperfect, unstable. Continuing will tear you apart at the cellular level. Worth the risk, Goku grunted, pushing harder. The crystal's disruption reached critical mass. Fractures spread throughout its entire structure, reality warping dramatically around it as its dimensional anchoring failed. No. Kairos lunged forward, but too late. With a sound like reality itself shattering, the stabilization point collapsed, imploding into a singularity before exploding outward in a blast of purified energy. The shockwave knocked everyone backward, temporarily blinding them with its intensity. When vision returned, the crystal was gone, leaving only a crater where it had stood. The unnatural aurora above had partially receded, normal sky visible in patches through the dimensional distortion. And in the center of the crater lay Goku, his harmonized state gone, body smoking from the energy discharge. He wasn't moving. Dad! Gohan rushed to his side, checking for vital signs. He's alive, but barely. His life force is dangerously low. Kairos stood at the crater's edge, his expression unreadable. He actually did it. Destroyed a fully formed stabilization point through natural harmony rather than force. He sounded almost impressed despite his evident frustration. Vegeta landed beside Gohan, his ultra ego faded from exhaustion. Will he recover? I don't know, Gohan admitted worriedly. Whatever that transformation was, it drained him completely. He accessed true harmony without proper foundation, Kairos stated, approaching despite the defensive postures the Z fighters adopted. The toll on his system would be substantial. Stay back. Piccolo warned. To everyone's surprise, Kairos stopped. I mean no further harm. Not to him, at least. What he just demonstrated requires reconsideration. Reconsideration of what? Vegeta demanded suspiciously. My approach, Kairos replied, his dual-colored eyes fixed on Goku's unconscious form. For centuries, I believed harmony required dimensional standardization, forcing reality to conform to a single pattern. But this scion just demonstrated a form of harmony I hadn't considered possible. Natural rather than engineered. Individual rather than universal. So you're giving up your rebalancing plans? Gohan asked skeptically. No, Kairos shook his head. But I may revise my methods. What Goku achieved, however briefly, suggests alternative approaches worth exploring. He looked around at the partially restored reality. The other stabilization points remain active. Your dimension still faces harmonization. But perhaps, there is room for more variable outcomes than I initially calculated. With that cryptic statement, Kairos rose into the air. When he wakes, tell him I'll return in 1 day, not 3. His demonstration has accelerated my timeline. For what? Vegeta called. For the choice I initially offered, Kairos replied. Acceptance or resistance. Though now, perhaps, there may be a third option worth exploring. Before anyone could question him further, Kairos vanished, not in a flash of movement or energy, but by simply phasing out of their dimensional reality. The defenders gathered around Goku's unconscious form. We need to get him to Dend, Piccolo decided. Whatever that transformation was, it nearly killed him. But it worked, Gohan noted, looking at where the crystal had been. He actually disrupted Kairos's technology. At what cost? Vegeta muttered, though concern rather than criticism colored his voice. Foolish, reckless, and effective, Piccolo finished. Typical Goku. As they carefully lifted their fallen friend, the sky above continued to clear, the unnatural aurora receding further as the stabilization point's influence faded. But in the distance, similar light patterns remained visible over other regions where Kairos's crystals still stood. Whatever third option Kairos is considering, Gohan said grimly, we only have 1 day to prepare for it. And we need my dad back on his feet before then. Vegeta stared at the unconscious Saiyan who had once again achieved the seemingly impossible. If anyone can recover from something like this in a day, it's Kakarot, he admitted grudgingly. He's too stubborn to stay down when there's a fight waiting. As if responding to his rival's words, Goku's fingers twitched slightly, a faint smile forming on his unconscious face. See? Vegeta smirked. Already planning his next reckless stunt. They took to the air, carrying their fallen champion toward the lookout, while below them a city gradually returned to normal reality, saved, at least temporarily, by a harmony born not from force but from acceptance. Chapter 3, Convergence. Goku floated in darkness, disconnected from his body. Pain had faded to a distant memory, replaced by a strange sense of peace. Somewhere beyond the void, he could feel familiar energies, his friends, his family, calling him back. But something held him here, suspended between consciousness and oblivion. You nearly destroyed yourself, a voice echoed through the darkness. Not Kairos, but something older, deeper. I had to stop him, Goku replied, surprised he could speak without a body. At the cost of your existence? If necessary, Goku answered without hesitation. Light bloomed in the void, neither silver nor purple, but a perfect fusion of both. Within it stood a figure with Goku's face, yet somehow ancient and timeless. Who are you? Goku asked. The figure smiled. I am what you glimpsed when you achieved true harmony. Not Ultra Instinct. Not Ultra Ego. The consciousness that precedes both. The primal state, Goku realized. Names are limitations, the figure replied. But yes, that term is close enough. The light expanded, revealing countless realities, infinite dimensions existing simultaneously. Kairos wasn't entirely wrong, the figure continued. Harmony does exist beneath apparent contradictions. But his approach is fundamentally flawed. He forces conformity rather than embracing diversity. That's what I felt, Goku nodded. When I stopped trying to force the energies together, when I just accepted both parts of myself, they naturally harmonized. Precisely, the figure nodded approvingly. True harmony isn't achieved through conquest or control, but through understanding and acceptance. Can I maintain that state without destroying myself? Goku asked the question that had brought him to this void. Your physical form has limitations, the figure acknowledged. But what you achieved instinctively can be refined through awareness. The light began to fade, the figure with it. Wait. Goku called. How do I get back? Follow the connections, the figure's voice echoed as it disappeared. You've never truly been alone. The void dissolved, replaced by a cacophony of sensations, pain, warmth, voices. Goku's eyes snapped open. He lay on a bed in the lookout, surrounded by concerned faces. Dad! Gohan's relief was palpable. Hey, everyone, Goku managed weakly. How long was I out? Nearly 20 hours, Piccolo replied grimly. Dend and the senzu beans barely kept you alive. Goku tried to sit up, wincing at the effort. Every cell in his body ached with a deep, unfamiliar pain. Easy, Dend cautioned. Your body experienced energy levels it wasn't designed to channel. The harmony you achieved was powerful but unstable. But it worked, Goku recalled. The crystal, completely destroyed, Vegeta confirmed, arms crossed as he leaned against a wall. Whatever you did disrupted Kairos's technology at a fundamental level. Speaking of Kairos, Piccolo interjected, he said he'd return today with some third option. We have approximately 4 hours before his deadline. Goku nodded, processing this information. Help me up. We need to prepare. Despite protests, he swung his legs over the side of the bed. His body screamed in protest, but something deeper, a newfound awareness, helped him manage the pain. You shouldn't be moving yet, Dend insisted. No choice, Goku replied, determination overriding discomfort. Kairos is coming back, and we need to be ready. Ready how? Krillin asked anxiously. That transformation nearly killed you, and Kairos still has stabilization points all over the planet. I know, Goku acknowledged. But I understand something now that I didn't before. He looked at Vegeta. About Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, and what lies beyond both. Vegeta raised an eyebrow. Your little light show destroyed one crystal at the cost of your health. How exactly do you plan to handle the rest? Not alone, Goku said, meeting his rival's gaze. What I experienced in that void, it wasn't just about combining transformations. It was about connections. Connections? Gohan questioned. Between people, between energies, between different aspects of ourselves, Goku explained, struggling to articulate insights that transcended language. Kairos thinks harmony means making everything the same. But true harmony embraces differences while finding the unity beneath them. Philosophical revelations are wonderful, Vegeta said dryly, but they don't win battles against dimensional invaders. Actually, they might, Whisa's voice interrupted as he materialized in the room with Beerus beside him. What Goku experienced appears to be genuine primal consciousness, something even gods rarely access directly. Beerus studied Goku with newfound interest. You continue to defy expectations, Scion. That transformation should have annihilated you completely. Nearly did, Goku admitted with a pained smile. But it showed me something important about Kairos's weakness. Weakness? Beerus scoffed. He mastered harmonic energy centuries ago. His control far exceeds your momentary glimpse. That's just it, Goku's expression turned serious. He mastered control, but missed the point entirely. His harmony is forced, artificial, he's trying to make everything conform to his vision instead of finding the natural balance. And this insight helps us how, exactly? Piccolo questioned. Goku slowly stood, wobbling slightly before finding his balance. His stabilization points are vulnerable to natural harmony. I disrupted one crystal by accessing a balanced state that wasn't forced, that emerged naturally from accepting opposing aspects of myself. One crystal nearly killed you, Vegeta pointed out. There are dozens more worldwide. Which is why we need more than just me, Goku replied, looking around at his friends. Each of you has your own balance, your own harmony between opposing forces. If we can tap into that collectively. You're suggesting some kind of group energy? Gohan asked. Not exactly, Goku shook his head. More like, resonance. If enough of us can find our own internal balance, it might create a counter-frequency to Kairos's forced harmonization. Whis tapped his staff thoughtfully. It's not entirely without precedent. Mortals collectively generating a harmonic field that could disrupt dimensional manipulation. It sounds like wishful thinking, Vegeta growled, though his tone lacked conviction. Maybe, Goku conceded. But I felt something in that void between life and death, a connection to everyone here, to all life in this dimension. If we can amplify that connection. It still doesn't solve the problem of Kairos himself, Beerus interjected. Even if you disrupt his technology, he remains personally unmatched. One problem at a time, Goku replied. First, let's see if this resonance theory works. Despite continued skepticism, the group followed Goku outside to the lookout's main platform. The sky above still rippled with unnatural colors where Kairos's influence persisted. What exactly are we supposed to do? Krillin asked nervously. Find your center, Goku instructed, settling into a meditation pose despite his body's protests. The point where opposing forces in your life naturally balance. That's rather vague, Vegeta complained, though he reluctantly joined the circle forming around Goku. For you, it might be the balance between pride and family, Goku suggested. For Gohan, between scholar and warrior. We all contain contradictions that can either fight each other or find harmony. One by one, the defenders closed their eyes, following Goku's guidance. At first, nothing happened, the only sound the wind whistling across the lookout. I feel ridiculous, Vegeta muttered after several minutes. Give it time, Goku encouraged. Look for the point where your contradictions resolve, not by one defeating the other, but by both finding their proper place. Gradually, something began to shift. A subtle energy emerged around Goku first, not the dramatic aura of his previous transformation, but something quieter, more sustainable. It pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to resonate with the fabric of reality itself. Gohan felt it next, his own energy harmonizing with his father's, scholar and warrior aspects finding balance rather than conflict. Then Piccolo, then Krillin, then the others, each contributing their unique frequency to the growing resonance. Vegeta resisted longest, his pride battling against the vulnerability of connection. But witnessing the others' energies harmonizing, something shifted in his perspective. The prince closed his eyes again, searching within himself for the balance point between the solitary warrior he had been and the protector he had become. When his energy finally joined the resonance, the effect was immediate and dramatic. The collective harmony amplified exponentially, sending waves of balanced energy rippling outward from the lookout. Where these waves encountered Kairos's stabilization points, disruptions occurred, not catastrophic destruction like Goku's initial transformation had caused, but gradual destabilization, the crystal's forced frequencies unable to maintain coherence against the natural harmony. It's working, Dend observed in awe, watching through his guardian's perception as the crystals worldwide began to flicker and fade. In the center of the circle, Goku opened his eyes, now shifting subtly between their normal black, Ultra Instinct silver, and hints of Ultra Ego's purple. Not a full transformation, but a conscious connection to both energies without forcing either to dominate. This is just the beginning, he said quietly. Kairos will feel this. He'll come. As if summoned by his words, reality warped above the lookout. The aurora intensified, swirling into a vortex from which Kairos emerged, his expression a mixture of fascination and alarm. Fascinating, he observed, descending to hover above their circle. You've discovered collective harmonic resonance. Few civilizations ever achieve this level of dimensional awareness. The defenders broke their meditation, rising to face the intruder. Goku stepped forward, his body still weakened but his spirit resolute. Your stabilization points are failing, he stated simply. Natural harmony is stronger than forced conformity. Kairos studied him intently. You survived the transformation. More importantly, you've refined it, found a sustainable approach rather than the self-destructive burst you achieved previously. With help, Goku acknowledged, gesturing to his friends. That's something you wouldn't understand. True harmony doesn't erase individuality, it celebrates connections between distinct beings. A charming philosophy, Kairos replied, though something in his dual-colored eyes suggested uncertainty. But fundamentally limited. Individual harmonies remain isolated, vulnerable. Cosmic standardization ensures universal stability. At what cost? Gohan challenged. Erasing diversity? Destroying everyone who doesn't fit your definition of harmony? Evolution always has casualties, Kairos stated, though with less conviction than before. The greater pattern requires, nothing requires universal conformity, Goku interrupted. That's just the easiest way to control everything. Real harmony is harder, messy, diverse, constantly evolving. Kairos descended to the lookout surface, his feet finally touching solid ground, perhaps the first time he had fully committed to physical presence in their dimension. You mentioned a third option, Vegeta reminded him. Beyond acceptance or resistance. Yes, Kairos nodded, his gaze still fixed on Goku. Your demonstration with the stabilization point, it suggested possibilities I hadn't considered. Harmony achieved through natural resonance rather than engineered conformity. He gestured, creating a holographic display of countless dimensions interconnected through threads of light. My goal remains cosmic balance, preventing dimensional collapse through harmonic stabilization. But perhaps my methods have been unnecessarily rigid. You're admitting you might be wrong? Piccolo asked skeptically. I'm acknowledging alternative approaches worth investigation, Kairos corrected. What Goku achieved, what you all just demonstrated through collective resonance, suggests natural harmony might be more sustainable than forced alignment. So what's this third option? Goku pressed. Collaboration rather than conquest, Kairos replied. Your dimension develops natural harmonic resonance under my guidance. The stabilization occurs gradually, preserving individual variation while establishing baseline dimensional stability. The defenders exchanged skeptical glances. And if we refuse your guidance? Beerus demanded. Then we return to the original options, Kairos stated, his tone hardening slightly. Acceptance or resistance, both leading ultimately to the same outcome, though one path preserves more of your dimensional uniqueness than the other. Goku studied the being before them, powerful beyond comprehension, yet somehow incomplete. Why do you need to control the process at all? If natural harmony works better, why not just let dimensions find their own balance? Because left completely untended, dimensional boundaries erode chaotically, Kairos explained. The multiverse tends toward entropy without guidance. Or maybe, Goku suggested, control itself is the problem. Maybe trying to force harmony, even with good intentions, creates the very instability you're trying to prevent. For the first time, Kairos appeared genuinely troubled by Goku's words. The dimensional display flickered, revealing brief glimpses of devastation, worlds partially consumed by chaos, civilizations caught in transitional states between realities. You don't understand, Kairos said, an edge of desperation entering his voice. I've seen the consequences of dimensional collapse. Entire realities erased, countless lives lost to cosmic chaos. So you appointed yourself multiverse protector, Vegeta concluded. Deciding that your vision of harmony was the only solution. There were no alternatives. Kairos insisted. The divine hierarchy remained passive, watching dimensions collapse rather than intervening. Someone had to act. And did acting alone work? Goku asked quietly. Or did it just exchange one problem for another? The question hung in the air between them, Kairos's confident facade cracking slightly to reveal genuine uncertainty beneath. I prevented collapse, he finally stated. Stabilized countless dimensions that would otherwise have been lost. At the cost of their diversity, Whis observed. Their unique evolutionary paths. A necessary sacrifice, Kairos maintained, though his voice lacked conviction. Was it? Goku challenged. Or was it just easier than finding a way to preserve both stability and diversity? Before Kairos could respond, a tremor shook the lookout, then another, stronger. The aurora above intensified dramatically, swirling into chaotic patterns. What's happening? Gohan demanded. Kairos's expression shifted to alarm. The destabilization of my anchors, it's created a harmonic imbalance. Without controlled transition, the dimensional barrier is fluctuating wildly. Another, more violent tremor nearly knocked everyone off their feet. Reality itself seemed to warp around them, buildings partially phasing out of existence before snapping back. You see? Kairos turned accusingly to Goku. This is what happens when natural processes proceed without guidance. Chaotic collapse rather than ordered transition. Or maybe, Beerus countered, it's what happens when someone weakens dimensional barriers artificially, then loses control of the process. Blame is irrelevant, Whis interjected calmly. The immediate concern is stabilizing the barrier before permanent damage occurs. Kairos nodded reluctantly. Agreed. But my remaining stabilization points are failing. Without them, we don't need your technology, Goku interrupted, an idea forming. We already demonstrated a better approach. Despite the intensifying dimensional distortions, he lowered himself into meditation position again. The collective resonance, we can use it to stabilize the barriers naturally. That was merely disrupting my frequency, Kairos objected. Generating enough harmonic energy to actually repair dimensional damage would require more power. Yeah, Goku agreed. Which is where you come in. Kairos blinked in surprise. Me? You've mastered harmonic energy, even if your approach is flawed, Goku explained. If you joined our resonance circle, added your frequency to ours but followed our lead instead of trying to control it. A collaborative stabilization, Whis nodded approvingly. Rather elegant, actually. Kairos looked genuinely conflicted. You're suggesting I abandon centuries of methodology to follow an untested approach devised by mortals. Another violent tremor rocked the lookout, pieces of its edge crumbling into the void as dimensional stability continued to deteriorate. I'm suggesting, Goku replied calmly despite the chaos, that true harmony comes from cooperation, not control. Your knowledge with our approach. If it doesn't work, you can always go back to your original plan. Assuming any of us survive this dimensional collapse, Vegeta added dryly. Kairos studied them all, beings he had initially dismissed as primitive, now offering a solution he had never considered. Pride warred with pragmatism in his expression. Very well, he finally agreed as another section of the lookout dissolved into the void. A temporary collaboration to address the immediate crisis. Without further debate, they reformed the circle, this time with Kairos included, positioned between Goku and Whis. The being looked distinctly uncomfortable with the arrangement, and used to participating in anything he didn't control. Follow my lead, Goku instructed. Find your center, the natural balance point within yourself. I mastered harmonic energy centuries before you were born, Kairos replied stiffly. You mastered control, Goku corrected. This is about connection. Different approach, different result. Before Kairos could argue further, Goku closed his eyes, returning to the meditative state that had generated the initial resonance. One by one, the others followed, even Vegeta, who had overcome his initial skepticism after witnessing the effects. Kairos hesitated longest, watching the others with those disturbing dual-colored eyes. Then, as another dimensional tremor threatened to tear the lookout apart completely, he reluctantly closed his eyes and joined the meditation. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Kairos's enormous power amplified the resonance exponentially, sending waves of harmonic energy rippling outward in all directions. Where before their combined efforts had merely disrupted Kairos's stabilization points, now they generated a field powerful enough to actually repair dimensional damage. But something was wrong. The energy pattern remained discordant, Kairos's frequency fighting against the natural harmony rather than enhancing it. You're still trying to control it, Goku observed without opening his eyes. Let go of your pattern. Feel ours. My pattern is proven effective, Kairos insisted, though strain showed in his voice. Yours is chaotic, unpredictable. Because life is chaotic and unpredictable, Goku replied simply. Real harmony doesn't eliminate that, it embraces it. Another section of the lookout dissolved as the dimensional instability worsened. Kairos's attempt to impose his frequency was actually accelerating the collapse. This isn't working, Vegeta growled, opening his eyes. He can't let go of control. He has to, Goku insisted. Or everything falls apart. He turned to Kairos directly. Why did you start doing this? The dimensional harmonization, what was your original purpose? The unexpected question caught Kairos off guard. To prevent destruction. To save lives. Then remember that, Goku urged. Not the methods, not the control, the original purpose. Connection. Protection. Life. Something shifted in Kairos's expression, a momentary glimpse of the being he had been before centuries of isolation had hardened his perspective. For the first time since his arrival, genuine emotion registered on his face. I have forgotten much, he admitted quietly. With visible effort, he released the rigid pattern he had maintained for centuries. His energy wavered uncertainly before gradually aligning with the resonance the others had established, not dominating it but joining it, adding depth and power without imposing structure. The harmonic field expanded dramatically, encompassing the entire lookout, then beyond, spreading across Earth and into the dimensional barriers themselves. Where it touched the chaotic fluctuations, stability returned, not the artificial rigidity of Kairos's technology, but a flexible, organic balance that accommodated diversity within unity. Gradually, the tremors subsided. The aurora above shifted from chaotic swirls to gentle waves before fading significantly. Reality solidified around them, the lookout's damaged sections regenerating as dimensional coherence returned. After several minutes of perfect stillness, Goku opened his eyes. I think it worked. One by one, the others emerged from meditation. The dimensional distortions had nearly disappeared, though faint traces of the aurora remained visible in the high atmosphere, perhaps permanent reminders of how close they had come to collapse. Kairos opened his eyes last, his expression thoughtful and troubled. Remarkable, he murmured. Natural harmonic resonance actually strengthened the dimensional barriers rather than merely stabilizing them. Because it works with the natural frequencies instead of imposing artificial ones, Whis explained. Quite elegant, really. And sustainable, Dend added, his guardian senses confirming the stabilization. The effect is self-reinforcing, requiring no external maintenance. Kairos rose slowly, studying his hands as if seeing them for the first time. Centuries of methodology, potentially misconceived. He looked at Goku. How did you know this would work? You have no formal training in dimensional mechanics. Goku shrugged. I didn't know for sure. But I've learned that the strongest techniques are usually the ones that work with nature, not against it. A simplistic philosophy, Kairos noted, though without derision. Yet apparently effective in this case. In most cases, Beerus interjected. Something the divine hierarchy tried to teach you before you vanished into self-imposed exile. Kairos acknowledged this with a slight nod. Perhaps I was overly confident in my understanding. So what happens now? Gohan asked the question everyone was thinking. Your stabilization points are gone. The dimension is secure. Do you still intend to rebalance our reality? Kairos gazed at the horizon, where the last traces of aurora were fading from the sky. Your approach requires reconsideration of my methods. What you've demonstrated here, natural harmony through diversity rather than conformity, contradicts centuries of my work. But supports your original purpose, Goku reminded him. Protecting life, preventing destruction. Indeed, Kairos acknowledged. Though implementing such an approach across multiple dimensions would require. He hesitated, the concept clearly foreign to him, collaboration rather than directive. You could start here, Goku suggested. Work with us instead of on us. Learn how natural harmony functions in practice before trying to apply it elsewhere. Kairos raised an eyebrow. You would accept my presence after I threatened your entire dimension? We've turned worse enemies into allies, Vegeta noted dryly, glancing meaningfully at Piccolo and Beerus. And you've got knowledge that could help protect all dimensions, Goku added. If you're willing to share it instead of imposing it. For a long moment, Kairos said nothing, visibly processing this unexpected turn. When he finally spoke, his voice carried unusual humility. Perhaps, a period of observation would be beneficial. To study this natural harmonic approach before attempting wider implementation. Whis nodded approvingly. The divine hierarchy would certainly prefer collaborative methods to unilateral dimensional manipulation. Then it settled, Goku grinned, extending his hand. You help us understand dimensional mechanics, we help you understand natural harmony. Kairos stared at the offered hand as if it were an alien artifact. After a noticeable hesitation, he reached out and clasped it briefly, the gesture clearly unfamiliar. A provisional arrangement, he qualified. Subject to review as outcomes become clear. Of course, Goku agreed, though his smile suggested he wasn't concerned about the qualification. As they discussed details of this unexpected alliance, Vegeta pulled Goku aside. You realize you just invited a dimensional invader to stay indefinitely, the prince questioned. Former invader, Goku corrected. Current ally. Besides, having him where we can see him is better than wondering what he's up to in other dimensions. Vegeta studied his rival with reluctant respect. Sometimes your naive trust produces surprisingly strategic results. Thanks. I think. Goku laughed before turning serious. About that harmonic state, the one I achieved briefly. The one that nearly killed you? Vegeta reminded him. Yeah, that one, Goku nodded. I think I understand it better now. It's not about forcing Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego together, it's about finding the consciousness that precedes both. And this helps us how? I think we can both learn to access it safely, Goku explained. Not as a constant state, but as a temporary unification when needed. The connection we experienced in that shared meditation, it showed the path. Vegeta considered this. You think I could achieve this harmonized state as well? Eventually, sure, Goku nodded. You've already got Ultra Ego mastered, and you understand the principles of Ultra Instinct even if you haven't fully achieved it yet. Finding the balance point between them should be easier for you than it was for me. Nothing about this has been easy, Vegeta grumbled, though interest flickered in his eyes. But worth it, Goku grinned. Imagine having access to both forms, switching between them instantly or even combining aspects as needed. A tactical advantage, Vegeta acknowledged, strategic mind already considering applications. Exactly. Goku's enthusiasm bubbled over. We could call it Ultra Convergence. Vegeta's eye twitched. We will do no such thing. Ultra Harmony. Primal Form. Balanced, enough with the names. Vegeta interrupted. Master the technique first, label it later. Their bickering was interrupted by Whis, who approached with Kairos and Beerus. We've reached a preliminary agreement, the angel announced. Kairos will remain as an observer and consultant on dimensional mechanics, while studying Earth's natural harmonic development. Under supervision, Beerus added pointedly. Of course, Kairos agreed, his demeanor noticeably less imperious than before. Though I maintain that some degree of guided harmonization may eventually prove necessary. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, Goku said cheerfully. For now, let's focus on recovery and learning from each other. As discussions continued about practical arrangements, Goku found himself drawn to the edge of the lookout. The sky had mostly returned to normal, though subtle ripples remained visible to those who knew what to look for, permanent reminders of how close they had come to dimensional collapse. Gohan joined him at the edge. You okay, Dad? That harmonic state took a serious toll on your body. I'm getting there, Goku assured him. And I learned something important from it. About combining the ultra forms. About everything, Goku replied, uncharacteristically philosophical. Balance isn't about erasing differences or forcing things together. It's about finding the natural harmony that already exists beneath the surface. Gohan smiled, recognizing rare wisdom from his usually carefree father. You know, for someone who claims not to be deep, you sometimes have surprisingly profound insights. Nah, Goku laughed, immediately returning to his usual demeanor. I just hit things until they make sense. He rubbed his stomach. Speaking of which, near-death experiences always make me hungry. Think Chi-Chi's made dinner yet? Gohan shook his head in amused exasperation. Some things never change. Some things shouldn't, Goku replied with a wink. As they turned back to join the others, Goku paused for one last look at the sky. For a brief moment, his eyes shifted, one silver, one purple, before returning to normal. The harmonized state remained accessible now, a potential to be developed rather than a desperate last resort. Balance had been restored, not through conformity or control, but through connection and diversity. Whatever challenges lay ahead would be faced the same way they'd overcome this one, together, each in their own way, creating a harmony greater than any could achieve alone. That was a power even Kairos, with all his dimensional mastery, had failed to understand until today. And perhaps, Goku thought with characteristic optimism, the most important lesson any of them could learn. "Coming, Dad." Gohan called from across the lookout. "Right behind you," Goku replied, turning away from the horizon with a smile. "I'm starving." Some things indeed never changed, and sometimes, that was the greatest harmony of all. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.